Wait, what about what's going on?
I don't. Sorry. What?
That was my reaction. So that's a good Thursday. For now. So good. Oh my god. Here we go.
I take pens like every day because I stick them in my pocket and then I walk out. So don't feel bad, you know?
Well, they're like, these are like,
Let me do it. So on edge. Yeah, you're on?
Hello everyone, welcome to the Senate meeting. Just a reminder, public forum signups are in the back. We'll be going to those shortly. I call this meeting to order at 6:34 p.m. Moving on to roll call. Senator Adam. Senator Ben Cohen. Here. Senator Ben Court. Senator Briceño. Here. Senator Carlton Peru. Here. Senator Cernay. Senator Chohan. Yep. Senator Corneo. Here. Senator Fung. What up? Senator Hernandez. Here. Senator Combs-Wainer. Senator Camus. Senator Mello. Senator Nagpal. Senator Eng. Senator Nguyen. Senator Nellis. Here. Senator Plumrin. Here. Senator Perez. Here. Senator Solari. Here. Senator Solomon. Here. Senator Takuchi. Senator Tubian. Senator Uribe. Here. Moving on to excused absences, we have Alexis Bencourt for the entire meeting. The floor is now open. Senator Hernandez. She's already on the agenda. Senator Fung.
Motion to add Josh Takayuchi to excused absences.
There's a motion to add Josh Takeuchi for home.
For the whole meeting.
There's a motion to add Josh Takeuchi for the entire meeting. Is there a second? Second by Senator Nellis. No discussion. Senator Uribe.
Question.
Question has been called. Is there objection to call the question?
Consent.
Is there objection to consent? Seeing none, motion passes. Floor is still open. Senator Chohan.
Motion to add Josh Nagpal to excuse absences for the entire meeting.
There's a motion to add Josh Nagpal for the entire meeting. Is there a second? Second by proxy Rose. No discussion. Senator Chohan. Question has been called. Is there objection to call the question? Is there objection to consent? Seeing none, motion passes. The floor is still open. Senator Chohan.
Motion to bundle approve all excused absences.
There's a motion to bundle approve all excused absences. Is there a second? Second by Senator Nellis. For non-discussion. Senator Fung.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is there objection to call the question?
Consent.
Is there objection to consent? Seeing none, motion passes. On to acceptance of proxies, we have Sam Milliman for Alexis Bencourt for the entire meeting, Raquel Mario for Donald Noah for the entire meeting. The floor is now open. Senator Chohan.
Motion to add Tiana White.
There's a motion to add Tiana White as a proxy for Josh Takeuchi for
The entire meeting.
how long? The entire meeting. Is there a second? Second by Senator Fung for non-discussion. Senator Ben Cohen.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is there an objection to call the question?
Consent.
Is there objection to consent? Seeing none, motion passes. Senator Fung.
Motion to add Dylan Fussman as a proxy for Yarkins.
There's a motion to add Dylan Fussman as a proxy for Yarkins for the entire meeting. Is there a second? Second by proxy Rose. No discussion. Senator Ben Cohen.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is there an objection to call the question?
Consent.
Is there objection to consent? Seeing none, motion passes. Senator Nguyen.
Motion to add Eric Moon as a proxy after 7:30 p.m. for me.
There's a motion to add Eric Moon after 7:30 p.m. for Senator Nguyen. Is there a second? Second by Senator Chohan. No discussion. Senator Ornelas. Question has been called. Is there an objection to call the question?
Consent.
Is there objection to consent? Seeing none, motion passes. Senator Tubian.
Motion to add Ashley Davis as a proxy for Yara after Senator Thomas after 7 p.m.
There is a motion to add Ashley Davis for Senator Camus after 7 p.m. Is there a second? Second by proxy Noah. We're not in discussion. Senator Hernandez. Question has been called. Is there an objection to call the question?
Consent.
Is there an objection to consent? Seeing none, motion passes. We're still in proxy. Senator Fung.
Motion to bundle and approve all proxies.
There's a motion to bundle and approve all proxies. Is there a second? Second by Senator. No second. Motion dies. Senator Corneo.
Motion to add Liliana Ortiz as proxy for Jeffrey Palmer to 9:15.
There's a motion to add Liliana Ortiz after 9:15 p.m. for Senator. Is there a second? Second by Senator Uribe. We're now in discussion. Senator Nellis.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is there an objection to call the question?
Consent.
Is there an objection to consent? Seeing none, motion passes. We're now still in proxies. Senator Nellis.
Motion to bundle and approve all proxies.
There's a motion to bundle and approve all proxies. Is there a second? Second by Senator Chohan. We're in discussion. Senator Briceño.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is there an objection to call the question?
Consent.
Is there an objection to consent? Seeing none, motion passes. Senator calls approved.
Motion to suspend the orders of the day for the EDPLA.
Frontal Loop is coming up, and it's going to be on the 28th, which is a Sunday before Halloween. It's going to be for the children in IB to get candy at different local businesses. I mentioned this last week. We do need volunteers. If anyone wants to volunteer, get some hours in if you're an hours program, you just are a good person. And we will post the survey or the flyer for volunteers on our EDPLA page. You can also find out more information there, or you can talk to me. The Beloved Community project is up and running with IB Tennis Union, so they started distributing bags yesterday, the tote bags. The Halloween postcards that are made are finished. They're getting stuffed into the bags, and so you will, if you look ready, you will soon see those bags with the Halloween postcards in them, with all the information about Halloween on them. We also need volunteers for the Beloved Community project, like really bad. So we really need volunteers if you can. This weekend on Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to be doing it from like 3 to 7 on both days. So if anyone wants to join me, let me know, and we can go do some fun volunteering together. Math is also working on some alternative programming for the weekend after Halloween, because the noise ordinance will still be in effect. The festival ordinance will be going on for 2 weekends. So we're going to be trying to work on other ways that we can support the community and do something fun that's good. I'm also working with SAG Garcia on a Know Your Rights event on Sunday, and it's going to be in Santa Catalina, and we're going to have ice cream and pizza, and going to be telling people about the rights both in the dorms, so that's going to be under Garcia's domain, and our office is going to talk about knowing your rights in terms of bystander intervention when you see a cop, and knowing that you can still intervene, and you can say something even if you are intoxicated. I've been a part of a discussion with water at safety stations and how to both expand that to different locations, but also to work together with other orgs that are all still doing it, because there's different orgs that are all doing the same thing and trying to put that together. Another thing you probably all noticed is the bird survey, because a couple weeks ago everyone had concerns with the birds and the hoppers, so put the survey out, which you probably saw, and we have, it's kind of completed. This is the response to the stop, but we got about 200 responses, and it was very mixed results, so it was pretty much half and half from people who liked them and didn't. But there was a lot of response about what they'd like to see in terms of regulations, so I shared that with Officer Matt Bowman, James and Carroll from my Foot Patrol, as well as IBCSD. So various people have that information now, so hopefully we can begin to see these suggestions in effect. I've also started working with Senator Solomon on the healing event to survivors, and I will be supporting Senator Solomon in whatever way I can for that event. That's a long one. Any questions?
Any questions? Senator Funk.
Which 2 weekends is the noise ordinance in effect?
It's in effect the weekend before Halloween, after, so Fridays and Saturdays. It's starting the 26th, and it's going until
And what's the time on that noise ordinance?
It's 6 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Hey, you'll
Senator Rubin.
So I don't know, because I know, with all this happening, there's supposed to be, protection, and stuff. So I don't know if, UCPD or, I used to patrol, the sheriff's office, your office has, and I you have, a list of, all, the streets, but, is there, a little map that's, has, little reds, that, says, you can't park here, and, green where it's okay to park? Because, I'm not really good with directions.
The office was made map.
Okay.
So we're going to put the map on the Halloween website. I got this space. It's going to be up by tomorrow.
Okay.
And there's also going to be, the Foot Patrol's going to put out the little, signs, so it's mostly just the road in front of IB Foot Patrol, and every intersection at Treeville, on the corners where they'll put the barricades.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Senator Nellis.
Where can people sign up to volunteer for
Which one?
the visit the Beloved?
The Beloved Community. There's a Google form that's on the EPLA Facebook page. If you email me, I can also send you the link directly.
Senator Solari.
Is there a no visitors day for the dorms and an ID again?
Yeah.
For both weekends?
Yeah, there's the keep it local, keep it safe campaign is still the common messaging.
Deal. Senator Adam.
The post on the EPLA Facebook page regarding Halloween was awesome and was super informative. I was wondering if you could make one just about parking.
Totally.
Just really concise about parking. That way people could just like send it as a screenshot in their house group messages. Like you literally just copy paste whatever's about parking. So that'd be really helpful.
Senator Briceño.
We were talking about water stations. So are you going to have them set up through ID or?
So that's more Public Safety Commission and UCID. I've been involved in conversations just because Public Safety Commission is small right now. But what's the goal is to have, so there's the safety stations at Little Acorn, and then there's now one at River to the Sea, and working with Health and Wellness and off of the program to collaborate and pool resources into getting stations both at those main locations, but also along TG, which is what most of us are probably familiar with, and we will need to see it. So we're trying, my goal and hope is that so that there's consistent points where it always is, and then when we're able to expand, it will expand also.
Just maybe because I feel like, like, you know, like those streets are a little bit closer to like stations where you can go like 7-Eleven or something. Yeah. But if you're like out on like Fortuna, it's a little bit harder and you don't want to go towards that way just because like that here, like police presence or something. So, like, that's
so you're asking for more of our stations out on like 6 8 block? Okay. I'll totally put that in the conversation.
I yield.
Senator Tubian. Any more questions? Thank you.
Yes.
Senator Fung.
A motion to move back into the orders of the day.
There's a motion to resume the orders of the day. Is there a second? Second by proxy Roseman. Discussion. Senator Ben Cohen.
Call question?
Question has been called. Is there an objection to call a question?
Consent.
Is there an objection? Consent. Seeing none, motion passes. External reports. We have the Chancellor's representative, UCPD representative, GSA representative, USEN Governance Board representative, IBCSD representative. We have new business. We have a resolution to create the Food Insecurity Leadership Council going to the first, Senator Corneo.
Hello everyone. I hope your day is going really well. So with this resolution, I've been working very closely with Anthony Hernandez, and it's basically to unify all the efforts that students, staff, and faculty are doing to fight food insecurity both on campus and off campus. Some of the conversations that have been going on is that there isn't really a centralized bank of information where students can find out what's going on, what cool projects are happening. And we felt that by creating this council, we kind of centralized efforts, and we unified these efforts, and we basically update each other on what's going on, both like I said, on campus and off campus. So yeah, I go.
Going to the second, Senator Hernandez.
Yeah, just to follow up what Rafael said, we made us to unify all efforts for food insecurity. We also wanted to have this committee be like a safe space for people who are dealing with food insecurity, mostly so that it can combat the stigma against it that food insecurity comes with. We want students to come here and be directed to resources available to them, to express any changes they want, or if they even want to help out and get involved in the mission to fight food insecurity. Yeah, thank you.
Going to the student sponsor, Juan Ornelas.
Do I go up there or do you stay here?
If you want to.
So I'm Juan Ornelas. I work with Raph and Anthony on this. So like just what it's the bill says. We're just trying to work with the UCs, with all UCs to simplify rates for people communities to deal with this. Like I explain pretty much what it is. Thank you.
The floor is now open. My recommendation send this to immediate consideration. Senator Trubio.
Motion to move this bill to immediate.
There's a motion to move this to immediate consideration. There's a second. Senator Briceño. Non-discussion. Senator Uribe. Question has been called. Is there objection called a question?
Consent.
Is there objection consent? Seeing none, motion passes. We have a bill updating the legal code of the AS Student Initiative Recruitment Retention Committee. Going to the first, Senator Solomon.
So after our fall leadership retreat, we decided that there were a lot of outdated things about the legal code, specifically the positions. There were 2 new positions created. There was an outreach workshop coordinator and then retention workshop coordinator. So they'll work on educating students throughout the year on tips and tactics of how to survive as a first-gen student. And then outreach will be creating workshops for high school students. And then we created a way to remove officers if they decide to resign or if there's a problem. And we talked through the board. Talk through it with the board to see if everything was okay. We was actually post-grad search, so we worked together on that.
Going to the second, Senator Briseño.
The only other thing that I can think that was changed was the representatives from the mother organizations. But we just felt that kind of the way CERC is right now, that's kind of a little bit outdated, but then just changing things, making our organization that does great stuff.
My recommendation is to table this for 1 week. Senator Camille.
I motion to table this for a week.
There's a motion to table this bill for a week. Is there a second? Senator Nellis, we're not in discussion. Senator Ewing.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is there an objection? Call a question.
Consent.
Is there objection? Consent. Seeing none, motion passes. When you're talking, please make sure that you speak up because some of us can't hear you and a lot of people in the back can't hear you, especially. We have a resolution in support of an associate student's work stoppage for 3 days in conjunction with the American Federation of Municipal Employees strike ASME 3299. Going to the first, Senator Palmer.
Okay, also, the resolution is kind of self-explanatory in the sense that all ASNCs will be stopping for 3 days in solidarity with ASME 3299. And also there will be no police presence permitted on AS Main, as AS Main will serve as a safe space for all ASME workers and facilitate an area where they can just recollect themselves. That's the ideal.
Going to the second, Senator Briseño.
Like Senator Palmer said, it's pretty self-explanatory. We all read it. I think one of the main things that I think here is we're not stopping working what we're doing. Instead, we're showing solidarity for something that we have the privilege of having, that we have the privilege of supporting. I think it's important that we listen to the sponsors of this bill and all the people who are here at Public Forum, because at the end of the day, it's their experiences and their valid experiences in which we must hear. So yeah, I yield.
Student sponsor, Dylan.
Do we go both at once, the co-sponsor and sponsor, if you want? Are we able to? Okay. So, hello, my name is Dylan. My partner is getting help. I'm the student sponsor for this bill. I'm a second year in CS. And,
Hi, I'm Riley Shea. I'm a second year political science major.
So what we're here is we're going to ask for you guys, for you folks to have a work stoppage during the strike in order to show maximum solidarity with ASME 3299. The UC is currently denying them the proper and fair wages that they deserve. And it's important for us as students to take a stance and be in support of our workers. So first I'm going to say why it's good for students. If the workers succeed, the students also gain. One example that I can point to is when the UAW 2865 went on strike 4 years ago, they gained gender neutral bathrooms, and that was in support of all students. So in every building, the UAW or UAW member work, which is a graduate student TA, a reader, or a tutor, we now have gender neutral bathrooms that are more inclusive of the community. And in ASME's in ASME's contract, they're demanding for a sanctuary campus, and so if they win that, no ICE would be on campus, and that would obviously benefit students in support of that. And also, their working conditions are our living conditions, so if they're hungry at work, then we're suffering for it because they can't do the full job that they are paid to do, and we're the ones suffering for it.
Yeah, I just think it's absolutely necessary that associate students take as many steps as possible in order to show solidarity with the workers and to support the workers, because the workers are the foundation of the university. They do so much work for us, and it's absolutely necessary that we support it as a community. Another thing is, a common misconception is that this will shut down all associated students entities, and since that's not correct. Some of the more important ones, such as the Associated Students Food Bank, the Legal Center, and emergency loans will also be still available during this time. Even concert tickets will still be available, so this is not a complete shutdown of all AS entities. It's some of the more essential ones still remain in person and the work stoppage.
Yeah, students will, it's just a 3-day, it's nothing major is being shut down, it's just a minor inconvenience where they're forced to think of our workers who provide for them in order to do that. And I want to say that there is no neutral stance on this resolution. You're either for the workers or you're against the workers. When we have the workers sign up to join the union, they either have to sign a card or not sign a card. And the UC only has a checkbox. And when they see that checkbox, they only see if they're there or not. And the UC will see if we are there for them or if we are not there. We can't stay neutral on this. And then I also want to bring up my experience within contract negotiations. I visited the contract negotiations for UAW 2865, and it was an absolute nightmare on the side of the UC administration. At first, they said that they would follow full legal precedence over immigration. Luckily, they took back that stance, but they were unprepared and basically denying workers of common safe rights. They had sexist proposal where they tried to make it so the only thing that our students here could not grieve upon was sexual harassment. And they also have a very low understanding of gender neutral language and why single gender bathrooms are important, or all gender bathrooms are important. So I want to end this by saying that when we collectively fight, we win. And if we make a bigger strike, they won't have to do this again and we'll be done. We have to make the biggest stance possible so the UC will support our workers. Thank you.
Are you taking questions?
Yeah.
Better fun.
Does this resolution dock honoraria for those who do not participate in the strike?
So the only way that honoraria is docked is if they do not, they just have to sign in. They do not have to support the strike. They just have to sign in on a piece of paper, and that's not as we see it, it's not a big deal to just sign.
So if they don't sign the paper, then their honoraria can be docked. How much are you considering to dock their honoraria?
So it just, in the resolution, it just says consideration by the Iowa Vista, or the IVP Accountability Director, I believe. We have a copy right here. It says, will be considered for dock of honorary by the Internal Vice President's Accountability Director. And I think that that's a minor point in the resolution, and it's not that big of a deal to sign a piece of paper.
Yeah, so this is not, you do not have to officially endorse the strike. You don't have to strike or attend any of the strike events. However, you do have to just simply come and sign the paper to ensure that you have documentation that you are there and you signed in, so that you have to sign what's remaining, the amount of hours you're supposed to work. So because we just need documentation, you don't have to attend the strike to support the strike.
Follow up? No, you only get one follow up.
Oh, I yield.
Sorry to be in.
So what's the documentation for exactly? What are you ensuring?
So one thing is that we want to make sure that no financial disruption comes to students who were previously supposed to work on the days of work stoppage. Because students obviously if we didn't, students need their jobs basically, and in order to survive or something. So we want to make sure that no student who's supposed to work there will get disadvantaged or had a shift during that time has a disadvantage. So we have a little we'll have a little sign-in sheet where they can mark the amount of hours, and then they will be added to Chronos to make sure that they don't.
Follow-up? I thought we were talking about doffing honoraria.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, my bad. I misunderstood your question. So it's simply one person per BC. Let me make sure. One person per AS entity that comes to the strike, and we just want to make sure that the person who So we just want to make sure that one person or that they see their workers' presence, or they see that our workers are here.
Yield. Proxy yield. Proxy rose.
Hi, so just kind of make that point clear. So let's say, for example, you have office hours during that time, then would you go and show and support the amount of office hours you had during that time?
Well, can you repeat the question?
So for example, let's say you have like office hours during that time, but ASP is being used, you would go and support during office hours as well as signing that paper.
Yeah, to make sure, we want to make sure that that when you're having the work stoppage, that you actually know that it's happening. Yeah.
Thank you.
Proxy Noah.
I was wondering if you guys would consider an amendment or kind of like what process or to publicize this should it pass to let students know that things like the bike shop room or parts of the AS ticket office wouldn't be shut down.
Yes.
Well, I believe that it's like I'm fine with it being shut down for 3 days, but just so that it doesn't like entirely inconvenience students, would you consider that?
Yeah, I think that well, we're currently trying to get students to know that the strike is happening, and we're doing a lot of work. So we're knocking on doors, we're passing out flyers in the arbor, and we're trying to make sure that students know that that the strike is happening, because I think it's a big deal in students' lives, and it can be very stressful if workers are just on strike and you didn't know about it. Especially when like professors might be canceling classes, or your TA might cancel their section. And so I think that it would be good if, or it's
at least publicizing some kind of information material on the entities that you're considering closing for those few days. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Fun.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, what sort of outreach are you planning on doing to the the number of AS organizations is quite large. If these students don't come and sign their name on this piece of paper, they could be docked honoraria. What sort of outreach are you going to do to these organizations to make sure that students know to show up and to sign this paper?
So outreach to these organizations?
To make sure that they know to come and that they shouldn't be working, that they should come and sign this paper.
So first of all, I think that's a huge responsibility, or that's part of AS's duty, is that they have to see that Senate actually does something, and that you guys aren't sitting around and that you guys are actually important. You're supposed to be helping these VCUs, first of all. And then we are doing a ton of outreach. We've made a petition to get them to support the current AS senators to get current AS senators to show the maximum steps in order to support the strike. And in under 2 days, we got over 250 signatures on this petition to make sure that you guys show support for our workers. It's an incredibly popular thing, and we are doing a ton of outreach. Like, we've been having events every single day in order to make sure students know that this is happening, and I think part of this resolution would involve our association telling their workers what is happening.
Senator Solomon. Senator Tubian.
I think to clarify at least what I was thinking he was asking, how are you going to tell the VCU members that they're honorary and be off if they don't show up?
Well, it's only one person per VCU. It's not all the members in the VCU. In the resolution, it specifies only one person per AS entity, and I think that at least the VCU chair should be listening to Senate, and it should be like our collective job to inform.
Yeah, as well as we'll be also doing specific outreach to each BC to ensure this.
Yeah. Yeah, we want to make sure that no financial disruption comes to any student during these strikes, because I think that's incredibly important because people they have rent to pay. That's right.
So can you clarify that? So they're signing the. Actually, this might be a legal question. They're signing in just to show their support.
No, they're just signing in to say that they were. They don't have to support the strike. They can leave. Like, I don't care what they do afterwards. They just have to sign.
Senator Adams.
So just for logistics, when and like where would this paper be? Would it be online? Would it be, like, what if people are in class and they can't make it to like sign this paper?
Okay, good question. So, so the AFSCME workers are going to be at strike from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. And during every single hour of the day, there will be someone at Stork Tower that is in charge of making sure that every worker signs in, that the students who support the strike sign in, and they said that they'll have a separate sheet for student workers. That we'll talk about that later in another resolution, to have student workers sign in to make sure that we know to protect them. And then we'll also have a sheet for AS. But we will have someone there every single hour of the day. And it's probably, and I think it's even 5 people there.
Oh, yeah.
They will be there.
Great, thanks.
Point of personal privilege. Okay. Can we put the resolution up on the screen and show the therefore let it be resolved part so we know exactly what is going to be happening?
Senator Nellis.
No,
you're on the speaker list.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any more questions? No more questions. Okay. Oh, yeah.
How many students have you gotten so far that have indicated support for the strike?
So we just got a petition specifically to get the current AS senators to support the strike and take national solidarity. Last year we had over 500 students attend the strike each day, and this year we're working to increase that. And we've had a lot of outreach, and not everybody that we've gone to, we've had the paper for them to sign.
Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
My recommendation is to send this to immediate consideration. Senator Ornelas.
I motion to send this to immediate consideration. I motion to send this resolution to immediate consideration.
The motion to send this to immediate consideration. Is there a second? Senator President on discussion. Senator Amy. Question has been called. Is there an objection to call the question?
Consent.
Is there an objection to consent? Seeing none, motion passes. Speak up, please. No.
Oh, I know, it's because he wanted to say that
But, I
I
mean,
didn't want.
That's not.
Speak up. No one can hear you all.
Consent.
We have a resolution to support the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees 3299. Going to the first, Senator Solomon.
This resolution basically states that associated students will support the strikers, and also that we will provide $300 of food through the Office of the Student Advocate, who will also provide legal resources for the strikers if any legal ramifications are to occur during the strike.
Going to the second, Senator Tubian.
There's also a part in the resolution that basically directs President Brooke and Chancellor Yang to write a letter in support of the strike and basically demanding that the strikers get what they want from the ECU right off the president. So shout out to Zion, she really spearheaded this.
Going to the student sponsor, Eric Ceballos.
Hey everyone, it's good to see your faces again. I'm Eric Ceballos. I'm one of the AFSCME interns, and this is...
my name is Anna. I'm one of the AFSCME interns.
So we're here to try to get you to endorse AFSCME strike that's coming up because it's super important, and we all know that the Senate did it last year, so like this is It's kind of just a recurring thing. And as interns, it's on us to make sure that workers know that the students support them, and to also build these pathways for students and workers to be united. And so we're just here today to use our channel of student government, the Senate right here, to amplify students' voices to make the workers know that we support them and that this campus is their home as much as it is ours, and that like it would be incomplete without them.
So the UC is actually one of the largest employers in California, and that means it is affecting a lot of families and whatever like the UC is offering in the contract. So yeah, as we know, students we face housing and food insecurity, and it's also the same thing with workers. We as students, our presence here often pushes out the workers for their places in Santa Barbara, especially because housing is so expensive here. So we're trying to get students to know what's happening and why the strikes are happening, and we're trying to inform them of the resources that are here, like the food bank, and also during the strikes, there's going to be food at the strikes for students to come by and eat and meet the workers. And so another thing that we want to stress is that our struggles as students are interrelated. So oftentimes the UC tries to say that if they pay the workers higher wages, our tuition will increase, but in reality the UC isn't really doing much, and it's exploiting both students and workers. So our support as students is very crucial, and we're just trying to inform the students as to why it's important to support and why the strikes are happening.
You have 18 questions?
Yes.
Proxy Noah.
The previous speaker just said that they're expecting about 500 people a day. That happened last year, and I think this bill only asks for $200 in food, $300 in food. Is it 300 or 200? It's 300?
300.
300, okay. Do you guys think that you need more than $300 for food?
I don't know. So ask me last time for most of the bill, and I think we fed as many people as we could. I'm not sure of the numbers of how many people were left unfed, but all those 500 people, I think, who signed in, they got the ticket, so I think they should have food. But we're predicting below 500 for water, so maybe 300 might be more, but I'm not sure.
I was just saying, do you think that based on that and how many are coming, and that we want to make sure people are fed, do you think that you could use 500 or 600? Could we double it for you?
Yeah, that would be great.
I don't know if it would go used. I don't know if I can make a suggestion if it's friendly with the first to double the amount of allocations. Yeah, it's friendly. Yeah, you don't.
Information.
Yes.
So the AS food bank is closed on Tuesday to restock, and the strike is actually starting on Tuesday. Maybe that's something to consider, the first or the office.
Senator Senyo.
It's friendly with you to double the amount to 600. I know.
Proxy Rose.
So in your resolution, you all are asking for President Capel and Chancellor Yang to write a letter to Janet. Are they in support of the strike?
Who?
President Capel and Chancellor Yang.
We're not entirely sure. I think the resolution last year told them to do so, and I don't think they followed it.
So.
I mean, obviously, the president was different last time.
Right. So is Chancellor Yang in support of the strike? Is my question, I guess.
No, I'm sure Chancellor Yang is on the side of Janet and Poliano that they want to continue exploiting their workers. I don't know. I haven't checked on Chancellor Yang recently. I'll
follow up. I kind of asked you, but so are there will any measures be taken to ensure that that clause is in fact seen to fruition?
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing what I can on my end, but I mean, I hope that you all as senators, a lot of you have more weight with Chancellor Yang that I do, so I'm hoping that this resolution also calls on you to take your own initiative and be self-starters, to go and talk to administrators, Chancellor Yang, to maybe even send an email to the UC president himself and to Chancellor Yang. I think this bill is not about like what we can do; it's also about what y'all can do, and that's really important to remember.
Senator Senyo.
Hi, thank you for coming. I know y'all put in a lot of work for this, so thank you for that. But how can we really help? Like, is there any things we can share, and when can we share them, and like what can we do to really help y'all?
Well, I think one is we got a lot of flyers and media campaigns, so if you all could, whenever you get your laptops out, change your little banner thing to the NAPSU one. It's really cute, and builds a lot of momentum on social media, which a lot of people are on Facebook even during lecture, and you'll see. So it's a really good way to get the word out, and the more people know about the strike and know what's going on, the sooner something's going to happen.
Thank you. Senator Nellis.
Oh, okay, yeah. In the student, or the Office of the Student Attorney General, offering the resources, are these resources being offered to workers or student workers or both? All?
The legal resources?
Yes, the legal resources.
Yeah, they're offered to student workers because we want to protect them. While the law seems pretty clear, we just don't want there to be any mix-ups. So we want to provide legal resources for them, so if they do get depromoted or pass a public promotion or get less hours or something like that, that can be documented and legally dealt with.
Senator Tribune. Any more questions? Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Next, we have a resolution in support of UCSB student workers on strike with ASME 3299, going to the first. Oh. My recommendation is to send this resolution to immediate consideration. Senator Senyo.
I'm sorry. I
move to send this bill into immediate consideration. There's a motion to send this to immediate consideration. There's a second. Second by Senator Reed. We're done discussion. Senator Perez. Question has been called. Is there an objection to call a question?
Consent.
Is there an objection to consent?
Objection. Could we amend it to include the $600 instead of $300 if it's from the first?
You rescind your call to question. We're back in discussion.
Point of information, I guess. Isn't that, don't we have to do that when we're actually discussing the bill? To amend it?
You do it during acceptance of agenda. Because you, am I right where it's all?
You do it, if it's is it a change in the body of the?
It's a change to the fiscal impact.
The fiscal impact, you want to do it now because it's stating one thing, but if it's going to be different, you want to do it at the time that you're accepting the agenda, accepting it into the.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The floor is still open. Senator Proxy-Noah.
I move to amend the bill to have a $600 allocation.
Out of Senate.
Out of Senate unallocated.
There's a motion to change the fiscal impact to $600 out of Senate unallocated. Is there a second? Second by Senator Twan. We're in discussion. Senator Perez. Question has been called. Is there an objection? Call a question.
Consent.
Is there an objection? Consent. Seeing none, motion passes. The floor is still open. Senator Twan.
Motion to send this resolution into immediate consideration.
There's a motion to send this to immediate consideration. Is there a second? Second by Senator Tubin. Round discussion. Senator Rebay. Is there a second? Senator Ben-Cohen. We're now in discussion. Senator Fung.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is there an objection? Call a question.
Consent.
Do you call a question? I do. We're back in discussion. Senator Tubian.
There's a typo in the bill. It says 68, Senate says 69 at one point.
69, that's important.
Senator Fung.
Motion to amend the resolution to say 69 Senate.
There's a motion to amend the resolution to say 69 Senate in what?
I think it's like at the bottom, it says let it be resolved with the 68 Senate.
At the bottom. Make it say 69 at the bottom.
And to resolve the statement, is there a second? Second by Senator Uribe, we're now in discussion. Senator Tribune. Question has been called. Is there objection to call a question?
Consent.
Is there objection to consent? Seeing none, motion passes. We are back in discussion. We're open floor. Senator Tribune.
I motion to move this bill to immediate.
There's a motion to move this to immediate consideration. Is there a second? Second by Senator Ornelas. We're now in discussion. Senator Chawan.
Call a question.
Question has been called. Is there objection to call a question? Is there objection to consent? Seeing none, motion passes. We have a resolution in support of UCS Peak Student Workers on strike with the American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees 3299. Senator Corneo.
Hello everyone once again. So this resolution is in support of students exercising their right to strike. As we all know, we're all entitled to the right of assembly by the First Amendment. We also would want to use our AS resources, whatever we can, although we can't legally offer legal counsel to students. We can offer and direct them to resources that could prevent them from losing their jobs or facing retaliations from their management or bosses. Besides that, we will.
Going to the second, Senator Uribe. Going to student sponsor Mr. Martinez. Student sponsor Mayela.
Hello everyone, happy victory. The 4.0 gang is struggling, but it's on our side, right? We can do it. So just last February, I was standing at this podium asking the 68th Senate to support ASTRIM 3299 union members as they went on strike. I briefly told them about the difficulties of being a first-generation student from a close-knit family. I told them about how my life took a drastic fall after my dad's accident in spring 2016. How my family struggled economically even more ever since. How his immigration status and the nature of his job did not allow him to join a union and therefore was not able to be represented. So I also told the 68th Senate about some of the workers that I've had the honor to meet throughout my last couple of years here at UCSB. Just a few days ago, I was working late at night in the Main, and I was able to catch up with one of the workers that usually cleans all of the MCC building. One of the many service workers that clean after us. I tend to complain for having a part-time job, school and a few meetings here and there. What we do is nothing compared to the physical strain of our workers. I know, why do you have to listen to all of us complaining about something that you do not have direct jurisdiction over? It's not like you can meet their contract demands. We're doing this because we hope that you can be as fired up as we are. We're doing this because they are human beings, damn it. It is absolutely pathetic. It is pathetic that this university is still not meeting the union's demands. It is absurd that it has gone to the point that they have to strike yet again. Workers have historically supported students on this campus, walked out of their jobs as we walked out of class demanding a stop to tuition hikes, stood right next to us, right next to previous students as they went on hunger strikes, took over North Hall. They carry signs in solidarity. They feed many of us. And they remind us, students of color, that we belong in this institution. AS, to its capacity, should be in solidarity with ASME, as well as supporting our student workers that decide to join us in the picket line. I hope to see you all at the strike. I will not be taking any questions. Thank you.
My recommendation is to send this to immediate consideration. Is there Senator Nellis?
Motion to move this resolution to immediate consideration.
There's a motion to send this to immediate consideration. Is there a second? Second, Senator Uribe. We're now in discussion. Senator Hernandez. Question has been called. Is there an objection to call a question?
Consent.
Is there an objection to consent? Seeing none, motion passes. We have $5 towards human rights board. $500. have $500 to Human Rights Board for Healing of Survivors. My recommendation is to send this to immediate consideration. Senator Proxy Rose.
A motion to send this to immediate consideration.
There's a motion to send the funding request to immediate consideration. Is there a second? Second, Senator President. On discussion, Senator Rebag. Question has been called. Is there objection to call a question?
Consent.
Objection to consent. Seeing none, motion passes. Senator Carlton Peru.
Motion to add $50.98 for the AS Public Safety Commission.
There's a motion to add a funding request for $50.98 for AS Public Safety Commission. Is there a second? Second by Senator Cho on random discussion. Senator Rebag.
Call a question.
Question has been called. Is there objection to call a question?
Consent.
Is there objection to consent? Seeing none, motion passes. My recommendation to add this my recommendation is to move this funding request to immediate consideration. Senator Corneo.
A motion to move this to immediate consideration.
There's a motion to move this to immediate consideration. Is there a second? Second by Senator Ben Cohen on discussion. Senator Chowan.
Call a question.
Question has been called. Is there objection? Call a question.
Consent.
Is there objection to consent? Seeing none, motion passes. We have public forum. Let me get the list. First we have Jason. Jason.
Oh, hello everyone, my name is Jason Barajas. I'm from the Office of the Student Advocate, and I'm just here to introduce myself. I'm the public interest caseworker and also serving as the internal deputy chief of staff. Yeah, so my office hours are Mondays 11 to 1 p.m. at the Summit Cafe inside the University Library, and Wednesdays from 11 to 1 in the Office of the Student Advocate inside AC. And I still have not set up the official email, but my phone number is 661-234-2914. Thank you.
18 questions?
Sure.
Any questions? Proxy Rose.
So just to clarify, you're serving in two roles, public interest caseworker and internal deputy chief?
Yeah, the person originally appointed for the latter position was Christopher Vaughn, I believe. We still haven't clarified if I'm the intern or not. So yeah, that's the situation with that.
Any more questions? Thank you. Next we have Abby.
Hello everyone. My name is Abby Benitez and I also work in the Office of Student Advocate. I am the Community Outreach Coordinator and my office hours are on Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. in ASA, or OSA. And just a little note on the ASME resolution. I think it's part of my role and also been organizing the USAC a lot is I think that it's time to use our privilege as students and make visible all the hidden and often underappreciated or unappreciated services that our workers do for us, because they do a lot and it's really unnoticed, and I really think it's time for us to use our privilege as students.
18 questions?
Sure.
Proxy Rose.
Could you clarify which resolution you're talking about? We have 3 ASME resolutions.
For ASN to be in support of the ASME strips.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, then all of them.
All of them.
All of them.
Any more questions? Any more questions? Thank you. Next we have Jared.
Look,
I'm Jared. I was a student groundskeeper for 4 years at the college hall, and I've been a full-time groundskeeper at West Campus Apartments for a year now. And I took the job initially, and I'm here today, and I've been striking because I really like my job. I get to work outside all day. It's a 20-minute walk home and an 8-minute walk to the beach, which is really nice. And the reason that I'm striking is because I want to keep that lifestyle up. But for a lot of our members, it's more serious than that. I'm actually, as far as I know, the only residential groundskeeper that can afford to live in Isla Vista and work here. So I ask you to support us, not for me, because I mean, I'm just a guy, but for the people, the person who's at home right now with their 2 kids they're trying to support with making as much money as I do, or as little money as I do. And I would ask that if you can't support us in this endeavor, that you walk out of this meeting in protest.
18 questions.
I'm really hungry, dog. I want to go.
Please refrain from clapping during public forum. Next we have Dylan.
Hello everyone, Gracia asked me to introduce myself. I'm working for her under the Office of the Student Advocate as a Community Outreach Chair for Labor Issues. If you want to contact me, my email is kupsh@ucsc.edu. I'm open to all issues on labor, and I'm really excited to be working as a labor because our workers really depend on it, and even students here can really benefit from it. And we also have a student union that I've been working very hard to make sure that our workers are paid their fair amount. And in regards to the strike, I know it's just up here, but I want to say that the best outcome of the strike is there not being a strike and the UC just meeting their demands. And it's all on the UC to make sure that it doesn't happen. Thank you.
18 questions. Sure. Any questions?
What are your ops?
I haven't scheduled any.
Were you recognized? Marcy Rose.
I haven't scheduled any yet. I will wait until after the ASME strike because if I schedule them, they're likely going to be on Tuesday.
Thank you. Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have Ramsey.
Good evening all. My name is Ramsey Conley. I'm just a student here at UCSB. I can't speak nearly as lengthily or as eloquently as my colleagues, so I shall simply say I believe that as students who benefit from the work and labor of our university employees, we have a moral, ethical, and civic responsibility to do absolutely everything in our power to support them in their struggle for fair wages. If anyone else has any questions, I'll just...
Any questions?
I'll keep it short.
We have Eric.
Hey everyone, I just want to say thank you for everyone for passing these beautiful resolutions and being out here today. And if this has inspired you, or if you've already felt strongly about labor, we're looking for people who want to talk during like the big kind of get-togethers between the marches. So if you want to come out and talk about how you support them and like what you can do to help them and all that, please reach out to me and I'll schedule you in, for one of the days. Thank you so much. I'll be taking questions.
Best way to contact you?
I guess Facebook or my email is eCeballos, and that's CEBALLOS @UCSB.
Any more? Senator Ornelas.
Point of information, you just thanked us for passing the resolutions. We haven't passed them, we just motioned to move them to immediate consideration. Yeah.
Or moving that. Yeah, sorry.
You're good.
Any more questions? Thank you. Next we have Juan Donato.
Hi everybody, my name is Juan Donato. I'm a groundskeeper here for 8 years. My hours are 5 in the morning to 2 p.m. I'm just like many of the workers here, like we have some workers that start at 2 in the morning to 10 and then so on and so forth. Our job is to make sure that you guys focus on your studies. And I'm asking here today that you take a stand with me because now it's time for you guys to support us so that we can support you guys. United together,
Hello, Senators. My name is Nastasia Schnall. I am a writing tutor here at CLAS. I'm also a UAW member. I'm here today because I see a lot of injustice on this campus and in this community. And I don't see the university doing anything about it. Okay? I was in bargaining for UAW. I saw how they treated us and the fact that our service workers still haven't been able to get a contract. This is the second time they've gone on strike. The university is supposed to be a place that promotes diversity and equality, and I'm not seeing that. And as part of the university, we need to step up and do that if they're not going to do it for us. Okay? We've seen how this has impacted the university itself. There's been a decline, 37% people of color in the past 12 years, workers. And then in our community, in Santa Barbara, we've seen a decline of 24% Latinx folks in the past 6 years. So that's not how we increase diversity. That's not how we increase equality. So I will be exercising or expressing my individual conscience on
Hello everyone, my name is Daniel Lazar. I'm a third-year graduate student in electrical engineering. I'm also head steward of the Student Workers Union, represents TAs, readers, and tutors, although I'm not here in my official capacity. So last year there was an incredible strike. There was a ton of students, especially by the end of it. If you were around, it was incredible. The whole campus was shaking with energy. And it was a great opportunity, I mean, for myself and for everyone else to chat with the workers here, people who make this place run, kind of hear what's going on in people's lives, you know, hear that people are working 2, even 3 jobs just to be able to pay rent, and just realize how unjustly people are being treated by the university, and realize how much has to be made right. So, unfortunately, because of the contract we're in, the UAW, the Student Workers Union, isn't able to call for a sympathy strike. But we have sent out an email encouraging people to follow their individual consciences, to not cross that picket line, hold their sections at the picket line, educate people, talk to other grad students, talk to undergrads about it. So we're really encouraging people to respect that, although not officially calling for a sympathy strike. On the other hand, we have a really unique and powerful opportunity here to call for that sympathy strike and to join in with the efforts of AFSCME and all the workers on this campus. This is a really historic opportunity to join students, workers, student workers all together to try to right these wrongs. And I mean, if people see that there are injustices in the world, things that need to be changed, this is how we can change it, by building our collective power. And I highly encourage you to pass all 3 of these measures. And if you can't, I mean, if we can't stand together with the workers, then we should just walk out. But really, you have an opportunity to really change things, make a huge difference by joining together with the workers, the people who make this campus run. Thank you.
Thank you. Are you accepting questions?
Sure.
Any questions? Proxy Rose.
So you mentioned that the UAW will be able to have a sympathy strike, but could you tell us kind of, as we are about to vote on whether we will call on our fellow student workers to do that, like kind of what that process has been like for UAW in the past?
You mean in terms of calling for a sympathy strike?
Yeah.
Yeah, so to the best of my knowledge, we've done that in the past, and many people really wanted to be able to do that in this case as well. A lot of people wanted to push off. We had a recent contract negotiation, and a lot of us wanted to push off ratifying that contract so we could call for a sympathy strike with AFSCME. Unfortunately, we ended up signing the contract, so there is that clause, but we've done it in the past. Hopefully we'll do it again in the future. You don't have such a contract that prevents you from doing it, so you're free to do it, and if I were in your shoes, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have Julia Leary.
She had to go by like a while ago, so.
Okay. Next we have Chance.
My name is Chance English. I'm a former worker in the dining commons as an undergraduate and now a graduate student here on campus. I really do ask you all to come out in support of this resolution and stand in solidarity with these workers. Unions across this country are being under attack. They're being systematically dismantled and delegitimized. And the reason they're doing that is because they work. They've historically shown to improve the lives of workers and also the lives of everyone in society. So I do ask that this is the least you could do. So I hope to see you all at the strike. No questions. Michael Kyle.
Well, I've been glad definitely to take a different role in these times. I was one of the people leading the kind of resolutions last time. You know, I'm a non-traditional student, so I'll be commuting from now on, but I'm here for the 2 weeks just for these strikes to help support, to get them started, and to be here for the whole time. You know, I'm going to be running back home, help my mom out, future strikes in LA. Just kind of a little side note, Juan had to go right after he spoke. He's, I think he has 3 or 4 jobs, but he's also a live-in assistant for an adult with special needs, and I'm going to make dinner for him. So that's one of his 3 to sometimes 4 jobs that he had to go run off to do right now, but he came here to make sure that his presence was known. I'll be open to questions. I've been in this game for a while, and have kind of devoted my entire life for the past couple of years to evolve. I've been inside negotiation sessions. I've watched UCHR yell at a worker and talk down at her as she shared her experience of sexual harassment, and why she believes these contracts should have further protections and reporting. And I watched the UCHR yell down at her, shut her down, and almost put her in tears during negotiation sessions. I've seen their tactics. I've seen far too much. I can go on and on about how the UC Regents use their contracting practices for their own financial benefit while messing up, while taking away money from our workers' pensions. I can talk about how that affects us as students and how the privatization of the UC, the same thing that's causing worker wages to go down and pensions go down, is the same thing bringing up our tuition. So if you want to fight one, you have to fight both. If you're not there for both of them, you're not there for either of them. I can tell you about so many more experiences of our workers and their living conditions and wage inequality and how exactly that gets done through contracting out. And essentially, to be against these strikes is to be against gender and racial wage equality. We're here for all of this, and especially in the seconds here, representation for workers who want to strike should be the minimal of your jobs. AS should be for that.
Motion to extend speaker time to 2 minutes.
Motion to give the speaker 2 minutes. Is there a second? Second, please. Senator Nellis for non-discussion. Senator Briceño. Question has been called. Is there an objection to call a question?
Consent.
No objection. Consent. Seeing none, motion passes. 2 minutes.
Whether or not, like, you can, like, straight up, if you just disagree with gender and racial wage equality, that's one thing. But student workers have the right as individuals to come out onto the strike line, to respect the picket line and not cross. They have that right, like legally they have that right. But the managers will mark them as no-shows. They will harass them. They will bother them. That should be associated students' responsibility to represent those workers in those cases. They should have the ability to come to AS for this sort of thing. Last year during the Thomas fires, one of our student workers at Ortega was demoted simply because managers saw a screenshot of him saying, "We should not have to work in the smoke." That's it, demoted. Where it was awesome student advocate then. This is commonplace. Our student workers don't have rights. Honestly, terrible reading law, but I still don't understand how it's illegal that student workers have 0 sick hours, like in a year. That any time that they're sick, they have to have someone replace them or it's a no-show. These are the sorts of things that we want to expand our fights on. By working with the union, we have this opportunity to learn how to expand our rights. All of you should know that the UC mandated a $15 minimum wage, and then add in a little subtext that said that doesn't apply to student workers. And yet here we are with 20-hour maximums to be allowed to work within the UC at below their minimum wage standards, while our rents continue to go up. And what's causing rents to go up? The fact that we keep bringing more and more students in without the proper infrastructure for them. That's what drove the workers out. That's why some people are living in poverty, and that's why, regardless of our status as a school in the nation, Santa Barbara is the #1 county for childhood poverty in the state of California, and California is the #1 state for childhood poverty in the country. So we're in the center of it right here. Take a stand.
Any certain questions?
I can take questions.
Any questions? Thank you. Oh, Senator Nellis.
Besides showing solidarity with the strikers, can you give us examples of how you think an AS shutdown will help the cause?
The UC is a massive powerhouse for the economy in the state. It's the third largest employer. And they run a ton of money in these really shadowy contracts for themselves. But the other currency that they run is press. If Associated Students has a shutdown, no matter how minor it is, it will show much more strongly that students are with the workers and are acknowledging the gentrification, the sexism, the racism that the university pushes. We're with 150 years of inequality with the UC right now, and your statements today can become a large part of that narrative. They're press people. Oh my God, if you read their stuff, they are the worst people I've ever seen in my life. Make them run for the money.
Senator Abbott.
Hi, so just to give me a little, and anybody else in the room, a little more background on this issue. I know the workers are fighting for things such as better retirement plans, and I know they're overworked and underpaid. Could you just highlight like the top 3 things the workers are fighting for with this strike? That would just be really helpful.
So the things that get seen the most are going to be wage, healthcare, retirement. But there's a lot more to really go into that for, because on wage, our workers receive every single year a raise. And that's something the union has fought for that to be there. The UC wants to take that away, which means that workers receive 0 raises whatsoever from here on out until the next contract fight, if they can win it back, if they lose that. And that's going to put them well below rent increases and well below inflation. But here's kind of the kicker to it, is that some people might get raises, because people will kind of fight back on that. But those step increases, that's systematic raises for everybody. Who's the most likely people to get raises when there are no systematic raises? It'll be people who are subservient more to the managers, who are union busters, and how we see historically, it's going to be white men who work in these spaces as opposed to other workers. You already know that within the UC that on average it takes a black woman 6 years to reach the starting salary of the average white man. This is just pure statistical fact. We know that Latino black men are paid 20% less on average than white men, and this has to do a lot with the UC's outsourcing practices and their attacks on wage increases like this. By keeping these systematic raises, we'll maintain equality across gender and racial gaps. And it goes further on pension, which is one of the big ones. The chair of the Regents, George Keeper, is head of a law firm who is representing Fidelity, who is handling the 401k opt-outs. Fidelity gets paid some millions of dollars to come and trick workers to take worse pension plans so that they can benefit off the investment schemes. And the law firm that George Keeper runs got paid millions of dollars to represent Fidelity in this. So the UC chair of the Regents gave himself millions of dollars to give his friends millions of dollars to fuck over workers. I'm sorry, I'm not going to go around here. That's what the Regents are like. And that's the privatization we have to fight. It's very in-depth, but this is where the front line is. And if you want to let the Regents continue running them off, then that's, we can't continue letting that happen. They're the same ones that are raising tuition. They're the ones who threw a party with our tuition money in January 2017 when they raised tuition. They're the ones that after this tuition decrease, they put out in full press statements that the $60 decrease wasn't because of any lobbying or student efforts over the past years and years, but much rather because students fought back on tuition and started a lawsuit, and they were just paying off the lawsuit. That's their official award, and that's the award that went through. And everyone who bought into that tuition decrease and publicized it just actually helped the UC shut down the idea of fighting tuition. We have a common enemy here.
Thank you, I yield.
Senator Solomon.
Do you already have an advertisement plan, or is that something that AS could help you with in terms of funding?
Funding. I'll have to check with everyone else how it's going, but the HRB is helping out with flyering expenses as of now. We get a lot of resources just from our proximity with the union as well. The HRB is we need as much word out as possible. But for like our dorm flyering, things like that, or for signs that we kind of show, like, you know, if we can get massive ones printed out, is one thing we were talking about, to show like who's making all the money at the UC. I mean, you know, Chancellor Yang, with $400K a year plus salary, is actually one of the lowest paid. San Francisco Chancellor is over 800,000. And really the only reason for that is because that's the location where the Regents meetings are. And they need to have the most subservient Chancellor there, who will do the most to prevent our access to actually talking to the Regents. You know, the local police presence and a completely inaccessible building, the furthest location possible from all UC seasonal students, where they have the Regents meetings. Yeah.
Any more questions? Senator Perez.
Can you expand more on the notion that there is no ethical code for the reduction of tuition without standing in solidarity with the workers?
So, I mentioned from before, we have the common enemy for the Regents, and they have a very common practice. They try to go into UCSA, they try to go into other spaces, and they talk to students about how, well, if they get a raise, money got to come from somewhere, and it's a direct threat on tuition. That's a complete lie. Actually, the money is in different sources. Like tuition money does not go to worker pay, actually. It goes to a lot of other things, but it's a different source. They spread that lie in order to separate us because they know that when we're working together that we can actually fight it much more strongly. So to be a part of that separation is to damage our fight even on tuition fights. Before I even knew about the union, I was starting out the Student Activist Network back in the day. And we worked with the EPC office at the time with NEFA to basically do UCSA's job on the tuition fights. We had workers just joining our marches and with us. Bob Keaton, who just retired, lovely picture, I love to share it with y'all. I was sitting on the steps west store with the signs that you see my deck. Like, they come with us on this, that sort of stuff. They provided a bus where I got 31 students the year prior, after the UC audits were shown, where they had a $175 million slush fund, where they were shown using their money for limousines and European vacations, and that's tuition money. Asked me to provide the bus for me to bring everyone up there, and provide a bus for every UC. And they do that several times a year. We've had massive union support. They know the privatization scheme is what hurts both of us. They know, they've seen it. Actually in UCLA, where they fired 30 to 40 ballet workers, who, like, basically imagine you're bleeding about to die and just drive to the hospital. There's a ballet worker who takes your car and brings it back. And it'll come back where you want it. It turns out UCLA, the parking garage there had such bad ventilation, and all the cars running all the time, that workers are developing asthma from being there. And instead of having to deal with their new health issues, UC just fired all of them and offered the job to students. Still below $15 by like 14 or so. They're like, oh, look at us, how great we are. We're giving you students opportunity to have a slightly better than 12. Maybe you won't starve as much. When that job should be paying those students 19 or 20. There's no reason for students to be paid less than people are working alongside, but they use us to replace jobs for workers. We can't fight any of the shit about each other. We need to be with each other on every one of these fronts, or we're all losing.
Any more questions? Senator Senyo.
So you're talking about, can you explain a little bit about outsourcing and how like, this will directly like legally like, fall online to it? Because like I know outsourcing has a different legality. And then,
what was the second half?
So like I know like outsourcing has like a different legality when it comes to like job contracts and stuff like that. How will this go like hand in hand with that? Like,
So okay, outsourcing. Supposed to be illegal. UC finds a lot of weird ways to get around it. In November 2016, when I first found out about the union, they fired about 150 workers from the UC Irvine Hospital. Some, like a little over half of the workers, others are up to CNA. Those were the 3 unions instructors there. And we got most of those jobs back, but because like they weren't supposed to be able to do that. Now, the vice chancellor who was in charge of the hospital over Mrs. Irvine got some millions of dollars in bonus for cutting costs. And I think that bonus actually is still on tuition money. I'll double check on that. The unions got him to get that bonus back into the DC system, because that was just really difficult, honestly. His quoting for why it was okay to fire all his workers was because the UC San Diego hospital ran on smaller staff levels. As in, UC San Diego workers had more patients per staff. But UC San Diego hospital has a higher death rate. And that comes directly on our safety in every medical center, whether it's a really big hospital that serves the whole city or the small ones we have here. They force more and more work onto workers and increase risk in the medical centers, and they do that on service workers and break their backs over the cleaning and groundskeeping and all that. I was talking to the dental assistants today. They get a full schedule plus 11 emergencies. They said they just had one more dental assistant, this would be doable. But they're day by day being overworked in there. They don't deserve that. Outsourcing is when, because at the UC Irvine Hospital, I should explain on that, they fired 150 and they try to hire some 70 outsourced privately jobs. That would be at considerably lower wages and no benefits to replace the union workers. We basically got the jobs back, prevented the outsourcing, but they would still lose half the workers and increase that patient load onto the workers, which increases risk for our health needs within the hospitals and medical centers UC runs. They do that to bust unions to make strikes and other actions weaker because of all those people, and they do that to save costs for themselves, so they can give themselves bonuses. Like all the costs they might have saved went straight to the vice chancellor, and it was union effort that we got that returned back to the university, because we shouldn't be fronting the bills, so these guys can be getting bonuses for themselves all the time, right? Outsourcing is also a large cause of the gender racial disparity that we have. I don't even exactly remember, I have a study in my bag. But in particular, black workers at UC have been dropping dramatically at every single campus for the percentage they represent of the workforce. And we have more outsourcing coming in, we have more black workers in those outsourcing jobs. No benefits, no real wage increases, low pay and everything. And that's a large drive for that inequality, is that the outsourcing is being placed onto workers of color, and women especially, that makes it why a black woman takes 60 years, which is our average starting salary. Average starting salary of a white man in the same position, because of that outsourcing. And the students become, the UCS call it insourcing. That's one of the ways they try to get on this. It's not complete bullshit. But they want to put you in risky jobs with no benefits and lower pay. ACME wants you to have the same exact starting salary. A cook currently starts at $15.07 and has increases every single year. After raises, the starting bottom would go up, and you students who work there would start with those. There's other jobs that students work that start at 16, others that would start at 19 for the equivalent union job. And our union wants you to have those same jobs. Because one, it helps out the student workers with what they have, and it de-incentivizes the university from just wiping the slate of a bunch of workers and trying to put students into those asthma-inducing jobs in DC like that license. You know? Might have been a little long.
Any more questions? Senator Solomon?
So I'm aware that a new building is being built on campus. Do you know if that is being done by union workers or outsourced workers?
On Senator Walker? No time to look at this since I'm commuting now. Where is it?
I think it's on the sun side of campus.
Okay. I don't know the specifics. I don't know the specifics on the particular building per se. I do know the common practices. I don't know if you all heard of P3s or public-private partnerships, but it's what usually gets used to create buildings. I haven't seen it in effect as much here at UCSB, but if you take UC Davis, for example, currently they're building more student housing at UC Davis. They're doing it through a public-private partnership. I don't know if the construction workers in any of these cases are union or not, but when they do it under P3s like that, what typically happens is that the workers will be non-union. They'll do the same exact job as a union worker in the building next to them on the same campus, but that building is privately owned. Therefore, the private company can hire its own workers. And the UC still pays the private company to run all the workers, to build the building and everything. Basically, the UC for free gives this private company this huge building and the ability to do what it wants with its workers. The only return that UC gets is the union gets weaker because there's less people. But a lot of these P3s actually increase rental costs on students wherever they pop up. Irvine deserves heavy space for it, and they just have it happen right now. Because who gets to set the living costs inside of the private buildings is the private owner, and they're there for profit. So by taking it out of the public sphere, the UC is unable to keep your rent costs low in building that they should own. And they're just shelling out more money to some private jerk because it helps bust the union. That's another other example of how the UC can profit while feeding someone else's pocket, messing with workers and messing with students. I don't know about the specific one here. Davis is having reference to it at this exact moment, and it's been a long-standing practice across the UC.
Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, can we all please refrain from using technology until the acceptance of the agenda? Or else I'm going to start taking honoraria off, and I really do not want to start doing that. I already have a good list of names of you all. Sorry, it's really disrespectful to the speakers during public forum. Next we have Micah.
Hey everyone, I'm just here for an introduction today. So my name is Micah Almus, in case you don't know. I'm working at the Office of Student Advocates as external chief of staff. My office hours are Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12 to 2. My contact info, my email is Micah, M-I-C-A-H, Almas, A-L-M-A-S, @gmail.com. Phone number is 530-923-0904. And I want to talk a little about that's the thing I'm talking about. So Senate Cannon has the ability to endorse the strike, but we can't keep doing these endorsements without any action. So I support a coordinated AS stoppage with the strike so the student body can find out how important its workers are. I won't be taking any questions. I need to work on my resume.
Thank you. Next we have John Paul.
So you only know but we started for the AS special election on Monday, and today is Wednesday. And voting includes small work, and I'm going to tell you the voters from now. So basically what we need is 16%, which is 3,798 people. What we have right now is 836, so just 3.53%. So tomorrow I'm having a meeting with my board to discuss what needs to be done after. But I just want to stress that please tell the students and just try to help us out in reaching out to other folks to get out to vote for in this special election.
Are you taking questions? Senator Rubin?
So I know when you log into Go and it has that link there. Is that link able are we able to put that on social media, or is that yeah?
Senator Nellis?
If the percentage of voters isn't reached, we know that it's going to be extended for another week or something like that. That's not met. Is there anything else we can do to avoid a vacancy in the UPSA office for the rest of it?
So I'm meeting with the rest of the elections board tomorrow, and we'll be discussing this with that.
Okay.
Not with you.
Thank you.
Patsy Rose?
Is there any way that a proposed AS stoppage would somehow affect anything that elections board is doing next week?
Senator Solomon?
So my understanding is split. It's AS entities like the bike shop and AS admin. So downstairs, not in upstairs. So requisition forms and police line. Regular business will occur. Just one person from the elections board would have to sign in. Issues instead.
Any more questions? Thank you. Is anyone here for public forum who has not had the chance to speak?
Motion for an 8-minute recess.
There's a motion for naming a recess. Is there a second? Second by Senator Cho, and round of discussion. Senator Briseño.
Call a question.
Question has been called. Is there an objection? Call a question. Objection consent. Seeing none, motion passes. We are moving on to acceptance of agenda. Senator Briseño.
Motion to make an amendment to the resolution in support of the Associated Students Work stoppage for 3 days in conjunction with the American Federation of Municipal Employees strike to make the bill directional in order to add a directional clause to let it be resolved, so that it directs the executive director to do the X or Y regarding the employees.
Does this make sense for yourself?
Well, it does, except the X and Y needs to be replaced by variables that actually are relevant to the resolution.
Sorry.
So the X and Y would be potentially, essentially within the contracts of the student and career employees, fulfilling the wishes of the residents, something like that. Probably add in agreement with the Associated Students President.
Okay, so.
Senator Briseño.
Sorry, incorrect me if I'm wrong, please. Motion to change the letter B resolve clause to direct the executive director to add in agreement with students and contractors regarding employees, correct? No. Can you say it to me? Sorry.
To act in accordance with the contract or agreement for student and career employees. Period.
Thank you.
And the Associate Student President needs to be in agreement with the resolution, something like that.
Point of clarification, would that be an additional clause, or would that be just part of that letter result?
It might be a separate one.
Okay.
I reported to the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs and to the President of the Association. So they're my bosses. So you can't, if you're directing me to do something, the President and the Vice Chancellor have to be in agreement.
Senator Briseño.
Okay. Motion to add to the letter resolve clause that to direct the executive director to act in accordance with students and employees in order to to direct them to regarding the employees. Wait, okay. Sorry. Okay. So an amendment to the resolution to let it be resolved clause to direct the executive directors to act in accordance with students and the employees, as well as adding a separate clause, correct?
Like their job duties or their job descriptions.
Yes.
To go at the end of that sentence.
So
to act in accordance with the staff and career employees' job description.
Okay. So I'm going to try to act in accordance with the job, and the job description of the employees, correct? Here, I can write it down.
Yes, that is right.
Yes.
There's a motion to add this to resolutions 10, 17, 18, 17. Is there a second? Second by Senator Chalmers in discussion. Senator Payne. Question has been called. Is there objection to call a question? Consent. Is there objection to consent? Seeing none, motion passes. There's still an acceptance of agenda. Senator Chalmers.
Motion to accept the agenda.
Does the motion accept the agenda? Is there a second? Second by Senator by proxy vote. Is there any discussion? Senator Fung.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is there an objection to call a question?
Consent.
Is there objection to consent? Seeing none, motion passes. You may use your technology. Moving on to consent calendar. We have nothing. Action items under immediate consideration. We have a resolution to create the Food Insecurity Leadership Council vote is now voted. Senator Julian.
I reserve my right. I like this, props for you, for doing this. I motion to pass the bill to create, I can't see it, but food, something.
There's a motion to pass this resolution. Is there a second? Second by Senator Tron. Around discussion. Senator Solomon.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is there an objection? Call a question.
Consent.
Is there an objection? Consent. Seeing none, motion passes. Next, we have Resolution 17, a resolution in support of an associate students work stoppage for 3 days in conjunction with American Federation of Municipal Employees Strike. 3299. The floor is now open. Proxy Rose.
So I just want to make sure that it's, this is kind of a complicated situation because, you know, when a union goes on strike, the union votes to go on strike. And I guess we're kind of acting as that union for the students right now because by pushing the students, the AS entity, the employees of Bike Shop and all the other ones listed in the resolution, I just think we need to take into consideration that by passing this resolution, we are, you know, take this as you will, whether what I'm saying is positively or negatively connotated, that we are pushing this strike on the students. And we've heard a lot of people in favor tonight, but I also, you know, don't know how much this was publicized. We haven't really heard from any AS employees, and if any of you are, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this. But, you know, when a union goes on strike, like the union votes to go on strike, and we I guess are taking that away from most of the AS employees. So just something to consider as we discuss this resolution and vote on this resolution.
Senator Nellis.
Yeah, so earlier today I had a conversation with one of the workers from AS Recycling, and so they're in charge of going around and collecting all the recycling from the bins. And I basically asked him, I was like, because I knew that we were going to be hearing this resolution today, and so I was like, oh, what are your opinions on this, on like striking and stuff? And he was telling me that basically through AS Recycling, amongst themselves, they were deciding whether or not they wanted to strike. And he told me that himself, personally, he was in favor of striking, and so I was kind of talking to him like just to hear a little bit more, and he kind of told me, well, yeah, we basically go around these routes and collect the trash every day. There's certain zones that people tend to, and he was saying, however, like I understand the importance of this, and sure, there's going to be more trash for us to pick up on Thursday, but I think it's worth it. And with actions like these, from what I've heard, talking to people like Dylan and stuff, these create inconveniences for the university. So yeah, trash isn't going to be collected, and we're going to see it pile up. But again, that is just to remind the students what happens when what happens when the workers aren't around. Like, your trash isn't going to be collected. These things aren't going to be done for you. And I just think that we should be fighting in solidarity with workers. And just, I think it's really good visibility for the work that they do on campus for us. So, yeah.
Senator Palmer.
Yeah, so, the fact that students have a choice whether to say yes or no on this, that's a privilege. These workers do not have that privilege. This is something they have to do. Just to get, not even to get paid to like have a nice living, like this is just to survive. And in UCS at Santa Barbara, it's crazy expensive to live here. We all know this. And the fact that we get to ponder on this, say yes, no, objection, yes, whatever it may, recognize that's a privilege. And a lot of student workers and workers came here to talk to us, spend time here that we could make money working. So like honorary, all that is privilege. That's not your right.
So I think one of the main points we're just trying to make here is that we're showing support. These are not like our experiences in everyday lives. These are instead like we're just literally just showing support in the smallest way we can. And as senators, then I feel like it's our responsibility to push this on the BCUs and upon the rest of AS. That is what we're here for. If we're passing a resolution, it's in order for us to promote what the resolution passes. And if Senate passes it, then that is our responsibility that we are taking on. And like someone said, this is not a neutral issue. You're either helping laborers or, and I'm not saying like you're against like labor issues, but again, this is not a neutral issue. We're just trying to help in any way we can, and I'm not trying to directly cafeteria or anything. And honestly, like Senator Palmer was saying, a small inconvenience in our honor area is nothing compared to the physical impacts that these workers face every day.
Senator Solomon.
Yeah, I wanted to say a couple of things. One is that there's not one student on this campus that does not benefit from the hard work of the workers here at UCSB. Every student living on campus benefits from the hard work of the dining commons workers. And yes, the workers voted to strike, and the students didn't get a similar vote. However, they voted us into office, and it's our responsibility to vote in favor of the workers, knowing that that benefits students and workers. I yield.
Senator Tubian.
So I have a couple questions. And so there's some part about like a student worker signing in so that they can still get their hours for Chronos. If anyone could clarify, like, does that mean if student workers strike, they're still going to get paid? That'd be nice clarification. And then also, in terms of the BCU's honoraria getting docked, I completely agree that like a small dock of honoraria is nothing compared to what the workers have to deal with. I'm just worried about communicating that to the BCUs because like it's hard enough for us to even contact them as their liaisons, like to even get to their meetings. And I think it would be like kind of counterproductive to just dock our honoraria just because they didn't know if they were supposed to show up. And then on top of that, and like this isn't meant in any sort of way, but I just want to know what the point is of having them sign in.
Point of clarification, the Chronos thing is for student workers who work, like, let's say at the library or at the textbooks department, not like the AS ones. And I don't know if somebody from Public Forum can answer that. The Chronos, yeah. Student.
Would you like to speak?
Yeah. Yeah. Point of the honoraria thing is to make sure that students who are like in recycling who are have their shift planned for Tuesday to Wednesday or Thursday where the work office takes place, that they get paid fully during this, so we don't want.
Senator Funk.
So to kind of go off of what Senator Tubian said, I think this list seems to it seems to pose more of an issue with potentially docking students' honoraria versus encouraging, or versus like ensuring that the students who are participating in the strike or who may be working those hours during the strike get paid. I don't understand why we can't pay the workers the normal wages that they get without having to sign this sheet. I yield.
Point of clarification, it's because the way like unions do it is like, or like other places do it is like, if you aren't going to work that day, you have to like set, it's like something that's done across all unions and all protests, and it's kind of just following that regulation, correct me if I'm wrong, that is kind of like already established.
Senator Shawan. Senator Nellis.
So I just wanted to clarify a little bit with what the resolution says. So the resolution in the let it further be resolved mandates AS-UCSB will inform AS entities of the strike. So my interpretation of that is that the admin in AS will be letting everyone know, and we have channels to do that. We're all on Slack. We're all have listservs to our emails. So I don't think that's an issue, but it also says AS entities must send one or more representatives to at least one of the strikes. Us as senators, as liaisons in our BCUs, we're representatives for them too. So I mean, like, if you're worried about someone in your BCU getting docked to show up, and I think just requiring someone from a BCU to go just allows them to then go and see the strike. They're going to be there and go back to their BCU and relay that information and show like what the process was.
Senator Nellis, Senator Proxy Rose.
I yield.
Senator Rebay.
I believe, is it possible if I can ask Michael Kyle a question?
Yes, Michael.
So I think you had something to say earlier. Can you speak more?
Oh, I just want to make sure it's double said. He said it well, so it's, I kind of wanted to, I'm not sure, I think there's one like kind of big point. If you are if your workplace is striking and you're not at work and you're not at the strike, that's called a day off. So then there's like, you don't get assistance or pay on that. So like for them to be present at the strike would be the replacement of the work hours. Otherwise, they'd just be taking a day off. That's kind of why the practice is done that way specifically.
Senator Fernandez.
I was just gonna say, like, that would really, I mean, I think a lot of people would appreciate just like a heads up that something like this is gonna happen. Like if we have to advise our BCUs that they have to go register or sign up for this, just a heads up would have helped a lot because you know of the time constraint. I'm not saying I'm opposed to it or anything. I'm just saying like it would just help like so that we can communicate with them effectively and on time. And we do have communications within Senate, and it could have been easily discussed within those communications. It's just something to consider for future things that we do that involve similar things. I
just want to reiterate that there is still no motion on the table. We're in an open floor. Senator Trubian.
Sorry, I feel kind of dumb, but okay, so like I'm a worker in the residence halls, I'm a desk attendant, we log in on Chronos. But I don't, like I'm not aware that if like the desk attendants are striking or anything, that like, so I don't know, I just want to know like if I don't show up but I go to the strike, like, because I want to stand in solidarity, like will I be compensated for that, how that works?
So only AS employee.
Would you like to speak?
Yeah. Sorry about that. But only AS employees are allowed. It's illegal for the AS to pay any worker who is not covered by an AS. Who the funds for them don't come from AS. So only AS employees will have their hours logged.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can I add? Yeah, there's lots of people who do come out, especially dining car workers. Like the DLG workers already self-organize on who's coming and who's not. Like they won't be getting any compensation for it, and they already know it. The other resolution includes just legal representation for people like you, or people in the dining commons especially, who choose on their conscience to go to strike on that day and not have that pay, that you don't get reprimanded. You should not get a no-show. You should not get harassment. They can't even legally ask you for you to do it until you want to tell them. And you know, hopefully the representation is there for you as well as everyone else.
Francie Rose. Senator Sullivan.
About the time constraint, the times in which like people can sign up are for 3 days straight, 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. So we got at least one representative from each BCU can send one person between those times. It's a pretty big time block. And like Christian said earlier, even if no one from a BCU is able to come, we all are representatives of those AS entities and can go and represent for them. I yield.
There's still no motion on the table. Senator Perez. Senator Rebay.
I motion to pass the resolution. The one specifically, a resolution in support of an associated student work stoppage for the 3 days in conjunction with the American Federation of Municipal Employees Strike as to the 299 strike.
There's a motion to pass this resolution. Is there a second? Second by Senator Solomon. Round discussion. Senator Palmer. Question has been called. Is there an objection? Call a question.
Consent.
Is there objection? Consent. Seeing none, motion passes. This resolution passes. Moving on, we have a resolution to support the American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees, number 18. The floor is now open. Proxy Noah.
I move to pass a resolution in support of the Associated Students Work Stoppage. I don't know if that's more just like support the American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees, 3299.
There's a motion to pass this resolution. Is there a second? Second by Senator Chalmers. No discussion. Senator Presenio.
Call a question.
Question has been called. Is there objection? Call a question.
Consent.
Is there objection? Consent. Seeing none, motion passes. This resolution passes. Next, we have Resolution 1017-1819, a resolution in support of UCSB student workers on strike with the American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees. The floor is now open. Senator Chalmers.
I motion to pass the resolution in support of UCSB student workers on strike with the American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees.
There is a motion to pass this resolution. Is there a second? Second by Senator Perez. On discussion, Senator Ng.
Call a question.
Question has been called. Is there rejection? Call a question.
Consent.
Is there objection? Consent. Seeing none, motion passes. This resolution passes. Next, we have $500 for its Human Rights Award. Senator Tooby.
I motion to appropriate $500 to the course.
Point of clarification, what about the extra $59 that somebody was talking about? Oh, just kidding.
Out of Senate unallocated.
Out of Senate
Out of Senate unallocated. Is there a second? Second by Senator Fernandez. Yes? Is there a second? Second by Senator Chouan.
Can I retract my motion?
Well, we're in discussion now.
Okay.
Does anyone want to see the budget on what we are approving? Okay.
You're so excited.
This is the 500. No, this is the 500. This is another like this is like the lowercase c.
I was just gonna wait until it's done that, and then also the news locker.
We currently have $109,066.19 in Senate unallocated. Just to point it out. $109,066. $190,066.19.
For information,
Yes.
we are also awaiting $20,000 from the rollover to be added to fall rental. And that will also go to allocation.
Proxy votes.
Can I ask why, this seems pretty up the alley of Offset Student Advocate. Can I ask why no funding request was made to Offset Student?
The Offset Student Advocate is offering resources, and after this was done, we saw that like everything that we were asking each person was about reasonable. The Office President gave $400, UPLA gave $200. I wasn't able to add that. And then the Women's Commission also gave the funds, so I thought this would be appropriate since it is along the lines of the association's mission statement. And like if any of you want to ask information about the event,
I'm sorry.
about that too.
Okay, I yield.
Senator Kubian.
Do you mind giving us like some basic details, like if you have any like dates, activities, whatever you have in mind?
So we're gonna have it in either Corwin Pavilion or Masha Alumni House, and it's gonna be like discussion based. We're gonna have facilitators who are gonna like lead the discussion on survival-oriented like skill building and just overall healing. Following confirmation, we're not outright able to say any endorsements to a candidate or not. We are just creating a space that is in response to triggering political and media events, just to show that as student leaders we stand in solidarity with survivors. So there will be resources from CARE, there will be discussions on gaslighting, Ivy culture. I'm working with SASA and Human Rights Board to create the content, and then I Am That Girl, Take Back the Night, SASA, Human Rights Board, EVPLA Office of the President have all endorsed the event and or are offering resources.
Senator Adams.
Point of information, I'm an intern at the Motion Alumni House, so if you end up deciding to want it there, I could give you the contact information of the office manager who books all the rooms.
I think that we're going with Corwin for now because it's on campus, but if that doesn't work out, we'll try to.
Bagels.
Yes, go for it. Proxy votes.
So you said Corwin, but on your budget it says the hub.
That's because we just changed it today.
Okay. Is it the same cost?
It's about the same, because they're both USEN buildings, and they both house around like 180 people to 200.
Thank you, I yield.
Senator Nellis.
Can I motion? We're not in motion.
We are in a motion right now. Senator Rebate?
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is there objection? Call the question.
Consent.
No objection to consent. Seeing none, motion passes. Next, we have $50.98 for Public Safety Commission.
Motion to add $50.98 for the AS Public Safety Commission.
There's a motion out of what?
Senate unallocated.
There's a motion to fund Public Safety Commission $50.98 out of Senate unallocated. Is there a second? Second by Senator Palmer. On discussion. Senator Ben Cohen.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is there objection? Call the question.
Consent.
Is there objection? You raising your call the question? Sure. We're not discussion. Proxy Rose.
I just want to know what this is for.
Okay, so Benjamin Cochran emailed us asking that we approve this since the Public Safety Commission doesn't have quorum, hasn't met quorum, so they can't approve themselves. So they need to do it for them. And this is for the Halloween event. So they're using this on water jugs and paper cups.
Senator Ornelas.
We motion.
You're in a motion.
Call.
No, you
Second.
can't reserve your right. Senator Trubia.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is there objection? Call the question.
Consent.
Is there objection to consent? Seeing none, motion passes. We are now in old business. We have a bill to update Section 11, Clause 1 of Legal Code to add financial accounting assistant. The floor is now open. Senator Nellis.
I motion to accept the bill to update Section 11, Clause 1 of the financial accounting assistant.
There's a motion to pass this bill. Is there a second? Second by Senator Rebate. We're not in discussion. Senator Palmer.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is there objection? Call the question.
Consent.
Is there objection to consent? Seeing none, motion passes. This bill passes. Next, we're on recess. Proxy Rose.
I motion for a 5-minute recess.
There's a motion for a 5-minute recess. Is there a second? Second by Senator Chowan. We're on discussion. Senator Briseño.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is there objection? Call the question.
Consent.
Is there objection? Do that. You were call the question?
Yes.
We're now back in discussion. Senator Fox.
Motion for a 6-minute recess.
On the current motion is 5 minutes. Proxy Noah.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is there objection? Call the question.
Consent.
Is there objection? Consent. Seeing none, motion passes.
Oh. They're not getting passed down. I just don't want to.
Moving on, we have ASC CSB reports, administrative committees, boards and commissions, unit reports, President's Cabinet report, Executive Director's report. 10 minutes.
Hi, how are y'all doing?
Good, how are you?
For some reason, well, I've been sick for a couple of days, so I'm just now getting back today, my first day back. After traveling to Washington State with a group that went up to a Dr. Queer conference, and then I got sick the past couple of days. So I can't hear you all for some reason. I feel like I have something wrong with my hearing aid, but it could be just the 30s. So I just have a brief update, and then I'm available for any questions you may have. So, as I was saying, I traveled up to Washington State. The conference went very, very well. You all were very well represented. In fact, the folks that were in attendance who were actually at the conference literally said that when UCSB walked into the conference, like they totally felt really comfortable, they were really happy, and they're just like really, they felt more at ease or represented when folks came in from UCSB to the house. So that was really nice. In fact, today at today's radio show, we interviewed the keynote speaker on our radio show. I contributed to KCSB No Alibis, the public affairs show. Did that. Regarding our work here, personnel is moving along. We have a director search. The committee has forwarded some nominees to you, and we're going to be inviting them to campus on October 29th, 31st, November 2nd, and November 5th. It's not the only time you'll hear about it. We'll put together a forum where you all will be invited to come and meet the candidates for the position. Regarding the rest of the searches, we are in fact still conducting interviews and searches, though we are all really tied down, well, everybody who's involved with actually hiring students and hiring our career staff are really tied down by a new process. I was telling you all about a centralized system that's called UC and it literally has us like tied down. It gets really complicated. And so we're working on that. And our HR specialist, our assistant director for human resources, is on leave. And so she is, without her, then there's like 3 or 4 of us that have to pitch in to make that work. So that's going on. I told you about that a couple of weeks ago. I think the other matter that we had pending was basically the effect of some of the things that you all were talking about last time, which was essentially the Senate retreat, and I still have an exec retreat to build and put together and attend. So those trainings are really, really important for all of you all as well as the execs. And so really want to encourage you all to make plans to attend and essentially build a tight agenda for them, because that's like the basis of the rest of the year. Everything comes from that, you know. I think that's pretty much my reports. I haven't had any other issues that have come up or anything else that we're working on. Brooke will report on a new matter we're working on with the bike shop. I think the only other thing that comes to mind is essentially a need for a little more clarity for me and for staff regarding the resolutions we just passed. Because regarding what I was trying to say, and I'm glad you put some language in there directing me to work on it, is that the way labor law works is it works both ways. I can't force people to do something that's career staff. I can't force people to do something that's not within their job description. And I just want to have that dialogue with them and explain the resolution to them and explain it to the students and to the staff. And I think it'll be fine. Regarding honoraria, it's a little bit more tricky because in
internally, you will need to modify your record keeping, and I know Stephen has gone through honoraria processes before, but you're modifying it with a resolution might be hard to implement. So it might be a good time to just kind of take 2 or 3 steps down the road and imagine what changes you need to make in the honorary committee to make this a reality. And or, you know, maybe we can work on it a little bit more the next couple of weeks. So that's pretty much my report. I'm available for whatever questions you might have.
Any questions? Senator Nellis?
Yeah, so I think these resolutions that we passed today kind of opened up for dialogue in terms of the association within itself. Has there been any concerns that you've heard from faculty and staff regarding working conditions in associated students?
No, if there were, I would address them. Essentially, within associated students, there are conditions that are met either by changes in their job descriptions, or if there is a temporary disability or a permanent disability, there is an accommodation process that we go through with staff. And so that tends to be more along the order of our work. I would
follow up. Separate from that question, I'm working with the environmental justice chair on a project, and it has to do with people of color and sustainability and environmental movements on campus. Is there any documentation from AS that kind of breaks down demographics in terms of staff and identities amongst workers or like advisors and stuff like that?
Identities regarding
race, background, and stuff like that?
No, because it's against the law to really ask that. I think on a one-to-one basis, I think people are more open at offering that information. But as an employer, yourselves and myself, it's against the law to inquire. Okay. I think demographically, you could ask the Office of Institutional Data, I believe, institutional research. Office of Institutional Research keeps aggregate data for the campus, and so that would yield those data.
Thank you.
Senator Solomon.
So I work at the AS ticket office, and I know that our wages recently increased from, I believe, 11 to 12.50. I just wanted to ask, what body of authority controls AS workers' wages, career staff and students?
It's essentially my responsibility.
And then a follow-up question. I understand that there are hiring committees that are created to choose new career staff, but I want to ask if there was any way that once picked, like a major candidate, is there any way to go through Senate?
What we do is in the budget, when the budget is authorized, I'm authorized to hire as your executive director. It's delegated authority. So I report into you all, and there are co-chairs for every single search. So that's the like shared governance process that we have in place. So it doesn't go back to Senate because you've already pre-authorized. There's also, sorry, just to complete my answer, there's also, I think you'll recall the very first meeting of this academic year, I was asking for you all to volunteer to sit on the searches, so that's how that comes about. I don't know how many of you all actually took us up on that, but if you give me some more names, we'll place them in the search.
Senator Corneo.
Hello, thank you for coming. So, how are some other ways that we as senators and students can potentially help with recruitment and retentions of associate student staff?
Recruitment and retention, I think it's all very prescribed within the AHC system to maintain equity across the campus, the division, and the system. We have very prescribed ways that we can recruit, and so we go. All of our career staff are essentially UCSB staff, and so it's the same packages for everyone. And so essentially they're classified and managed by human resources. So as I as I was just sharing, I'm delegated that responsibility for all career staff and for student employees. And that's in accordance with HR policies at the UCSB level and with Regenta policies at the system-wide level. So there's essentially no other integration of either help or non-help. It's all bundled together with following HR policies.
Thank you.
Senator Hernandez.
Hi.
Hi.
So I have a question. I know you mentioned that it was a little more complicated for the hiring process. Do you have an estimate for when the transition lines will receive their advisor? And I only ask because they mentioned concern of not knowing how to proceed with being a VCU themselves.
Yeah, I am, in lieu of having an advisor, I'm literally their advisor, and so I haven't attended this past meeting. I was out, but I'm coming the following week, and I believe we're providing some training on conducting meetings, Robert's Rules of Order, as well as minute taking. So I'm their advisor. So until then, I don't think that I know that there's a pool of folks applying for it, but it's a 50% time position. So those tend to, they don't draw in a whole lot of people because it's very hard to live on half of 50% time. So I'll take a look and report in next week and see how that timeline is looking. As I was mentioning, UC Path has really slowed us down because that is literally, it's centralized, but it literally takes all of the hiring off campus over to UC Riverside. So in addition to our searches to make everything equitable and fair and up to HR policy, we now have more time that we have to allocate to send the paperwork up to or over to Riverside. So I'll give you a little bit more of an estimate next time. But I expect to be there next week.
Can I have a follow-up?
Yes.
Is one of the requirements for the advisor to be a transfer student themselves? Former transfer student?
No, to be aware of transfer articulation as well as the policies that are managed and maintained by the system for transfer. But not that they themselves be a transfer student. But that tends to be the case. Like I was a transfer student, and so that tends to be the type of job that people pursue if you have like experience. But that's not the kind of thing that you can really require.
Senator Tubian. Senator Dillis.
So you mentioned that this transfer advisor position would be kind of like a 50% or time job, part-time basically. Can you give us an estimate of how many of these positions exist like that are part-time? Because you mentioned that it would kind of like, people would it's hard to live off of that, and so I would assume that people would have to get other jobs.
It tends to be, it's literally that would be our only 50% time career job. We have another position that's been either between 65 and 75%, and that would be that from all of our staff. But yeah, it tends to be either someone who has another position, or is themselves a graduate student.
Senator Solomon.
You might have touched on this last week, but I was just curious on if the director of CAPS has been chosen yet.
They were, and his name is Dr. Brian Olawude.
Oh, how do you spell his last name?
Olawude is Olowude.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Out, like a lot of people looking straight down on it, and it's like kind of misleading. I was doing public forum too, so now that I'm actually seeing it, it's kind of weird. So just like what people are talking, just like trying to pay attention.
Thank you, Senator Chohan. So I hope your week 3s are going well. A few updates for you all.
So I can start with saying follow me at UCSB President on Instagram. It's lit. My director of communications is running that page. You should check it out. We're going to be posting a lot of important updates and fun opportunities on that page. So I have an update about SASA if you all have not seen it yet. They released their survey results that they conducted as well as their asks of the university that they've been working on. If you have not checked out that information yet, you should definitely do it. You can go onto sasa-ca.org to look at all the survey results. Asks. They have a really, really nice website set out for you all that you should definitely take a look at. And right now, my next step, at least in working with them, is to set up a meeting with administration to address those asks. So that's what I'm working on with them at the moment. I also went to, you all had Jenny, the Title IX grad rep, come present to you last week, a bunch of the Title IX changes. I went to her town hall on Monday night, and there is a lot more information that she didn't even present here about Title IX changes. So I would suggest, I don't have the info, but maybe Stephen, if you have it, or Mr. Chair, I don't know what you like to go by, but if you have that information, I think you all should look through the PowerPoint that she presented so that you're aware of those Title IX changes, because there's a lot of them and they're very important. So what else? One of my office staff, Quinn, he was actually a proxy here last week, I think. He is my sustainability coordinator, and he has been meeting with a lot of groups this week and is trying to work on a project with Greeks Go Green to get recycling, big recycling bins put in at frat houses, because apparently that's a really big issue that's not addressed at all. So I thought that was a very cool project that he's working on to update you all on. If you have any questions or want to consider partnering with him on that, let me know. I can get you his contact information. Please keep sharing the Pyramid Fellowship application, because we need more applications, and I think it's open till the 19th right now, so please try and do another push of that on all of your social media platforms. About the bike shop update, me and Maricela met with Morgan, who's the, what does she go by, like head mechanic? Student coordinator, head mechanic of the bike shop. We met with her today to talk about bike shops' needs and their future. If you all don't know, right now, the bike shop is not a permanent location. So where it is, we all know where the bike shop is, AS Bike Shop, okay, cool. It's not permanent there, and so there's actually in the university's blueprint plans of where the bike shop does not exist. It's a parking lot with plans for another building to be built there. It's not the bike shop. So there was a walk-in in 2006 that we pay for the bike shop, but it's a walk-in fee for renovation of the bike shop if they need it, and also a permanence fee. So the money that the bike shop has that has been accumulating since 2006 could be put towards some sort of plan to either make where the bike shop is right now their permanent location, so that the university can't really just decide at any time to make the bike shop just pick up and leave and find something else to do. So we are trying to, I'm going to try to set up a meeting with Morgan and the Vice Chancellor of Admin Services and also the architect for the university to see if there's some sort of plans that we could start getting the ball moving on to make sure that the bike shop has a permanent location, because they really do service like every student on this campus that has a bike at some point, and they do a lot for the association and utilize student fees. What else? Oh, today, just before this, me, Gaika, Tom Steele, and Maddie all met with the GSA president, Graduate Student Association president, and their EVP to kind of just get on the same page between the Graduate Student Association and AS, which is obviously the Undergraduate Student Association, I guess you could say. So we're trying to get on the same page and have a better connection with them this year, because at least for UCOP, the Council of Presidents consists of both all the undergraduate presidents of the UCs and the graduate presidents, so we work a lot. So just to make sure that we're like coordinating efforts, if there are any, between the grad students and undergrad students, we're looking forward to that. Let's see. Oh, there's also what Maricel brought this to my attention today. There's, I don't know if you all know, but there's what's called the AS Excellence Fund, which was started during Jonathan Aboud's presidency. And it's basically a fund that is not funded by student fees, and that's kind of its purpose. It's a fund that exists so that if there is a group on campus that wants like funding for some other program or just a program in general and needs money, this AS Excellent Fund can be tapped into and allocated. But this money is all like donor money, and it's like you need to raise money for it to be put in the fund. And right now there's about $1,600 in that fund that hasn't been used, and it's kind of just sitting around. So I might try to start a way to figure out to raise more money in that fund and utilize it for something. So if you all have any ideas about what maybe we could use that for, or a way we could raise more money, let me know. Besides that, I've met, just in terms of judicial council updates, I know you all had a lot of questions like that you were talking about and discussion that you were talking about in last week's meeting. And I just want to remind you all that I have office hours, like a literal 8-hour block set out from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Tuesdays. If you have questions, I am there every single minute of those hours. I do not leave ASME unless I have to go to the bathroom. So please come and talk to me if you have questions for me, or I'm there to be transparent. I'm there to talk to. I'm not scary. You can please just come into my office and chat. Thank you to Senator Ornelas and Senator Uribe who did come to talk to me. I really appreciated that you did, and both of us, we had really good conversations about ways to move forward with Judicial Council, and I was updating them on the process I had in mind. They were giving me ideas. We were really working together, and that's what I'm here for, to work with you all. So if you have questions, please stop by. But anyways, what we had been talking about was just the way things are going to move forward from going forward, hopefully. And what we had been talking about is really just implementing the policy that we have in place, which is to have COC do their interviews of all of the applicants that apply, every single application that is in the CFC system, to be reached out to be given an opportunity for an interview. And I'm not part of CFC's process. They're doing that themselves in the way they want to do it. And then they're going to come to a consensus of a list of recommendations that they're going to send to me. And then I'll review those applicants that they decided upon themselves. I'm going to conduct my own interviews of those applicants, and then I'm going to send you off my recommendations. And per the resolution that you passed last week, you all have complete free range to question those nominees yourselves, get to know them, ask any questions you might have, and then it's up to you to decide if you want to vote yes or vote no. That's your power, you know. And you need 2/3 to approve those appointments, and that's where y'all are come in. And so I talked to both Senator Ornelas and Senator Uribe about Justin's nomination that you still have on the table. And I think that it would be good, at least my recommendation would be to table his nomination as chair until after all of the applicants are reviewed by COC and myself, and I present to you 4 more applicants, because at that point I can decide to still keep Justin as a Judicial Council member or nominee, and then or not. And so then at that point you can decide whether to vote affirmatively or negatively against his appointment. We also talked about the idea of having me appoint 4 nominees all at one time, and then once they're approved, the Judicial Council themselves can decide internally on a recommendation of the judicial chair that they'll send to me, and then I can either send that off to you or not. and that could be more of a transparent.
Senator Senyo.
Motion for
Motion to give the speaker 2 more minutes. Is there a second? Segueing Senator Revere, we're not in discussion. Senator Corneo.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is there rejection? Call the question.
Consent.
Is there rejection? Consent. Seeing none, motion passes.
So those were processes that I talked to with both the senators, and we thought would be a fair, transparent process for us all to have to work together and to make sure the association's running efficiently. And I'll take questions about that if you all want. And you can also obviously talk about it amongst yourselves. Just one more thing before I'm done. If you want to put me in resolutions to like be doing things, whether that's writing letters or directing my office to do certain things, more like 99% of the time, I will probably be 100% A-okay with you doing that. Just please tell me first, because I didn't know about this letter or anything like that. I was mentioned about it, but I was not given a yes, you're doing this, or yes, it's going to be included in the resolution, nor was I presented the resolution before it was on the table. And I'm absolutely fine with writing that letter. I 100% support the strikes, and I'm 100% down to write the letter. I would just really like to know about that beforehand. Also, when you're including the chancellor in these things, it's really, really, really important that you let me know before you include him on some of these things, because I can't guarantee whether he will also write a letter or write a letter with me, because I'm not the chancellor and I can't know what might be restraining him or not restraining him. But if I'm given the time to get in contact with him beforehand and before you put these things in resolutions, I could give you a yes or a no on that. And then these processes could still, you know, move forward and move efficiently. So going forward, that would be awesome if you all could do that. But besides that, I'm good, and I'll take any questions.
Questions? Senator Senyo.
So first, do you remember last time we were here, you were telling us about the certain quotas that were met, and then you were gonna have a meeting?
The what? The
certain quotas that were met, like diversity quotas, and then you said we were gonna have a meeting with, I forgot which board. Did you ask about the funding?
So I forgot to put that in my report, but the meeting that I was supposed to have with the chancellor earlier this week to address all, still have all of your questions written down that you all asked me about various things from last week's Senate meeting, but my meeting with him got pushed for hopefully tomorrow, but might have to be pushed till next week because of his schedule and everything he has going on. So I haven't had the chance to sit down with him and ask him about those yet, but I still have that question written down to get to when I have a chance.
And then, kind of follow, well, also, I apologize for not reaching out to you about that. But follow for that, or not that, but what about the birds? Is there an update on the scooters?
So the most recent update I have about the birds is that they are not allowed on campus, from my understanding. And if you've seen by Pardal Tunnel, there's a big like bike, scooters, traffic laws. Like, make sure you're aware of that. So.
Thank you.
Senator Theo.
Sorry, President. Just several questions. How much is that budget for the bike shop to become a permanent? What is the budget, and what are the expected costs for just creating the plants itself?
Can I tell them the number? So the amount that they have in the budget right now is $2.8 million, which is a lot of money from student fees that has not been utilized yet, that should be implemented. I'm not sure of specific, we were going over in our meeting about specific, like the bike shop made a wish list of things that they want renovated within the current bike shop that they have, that we can go through to utilize those funds through the controller's office and to get them those like immediate needs that they have. But in terms of like how much a permanent bike shop is going to cost, you were saying like.
So a standalone building would go in phases. The first phase would be architectural, and finding a site is really like where the process is right now. There isn't even a site. But let's say the campus did allocate a site, then you would hire an architect to do drawings and create it. I've been quoted something along the lines between 15 and 25 million dollars it would take to actually create a standalone building on this campus. But that's a complete, it's going to vary tremendously depending on where, how large, what you want in it, all of that. So it's a whole process.
Yeah, it's very, like right now it's very, very early. We're just talking about right now getting a preliminary meeting with the Vice Chancellor of Admin Services and the architect, and this is likely going to be a project that is definitely not going to be able to be done in 1 year and will have to be continued out by the next AS president. Just getting the ball rolling now.
Okay, and then a follow-up question on the AS Excellence funds.
Yeah.
Would this fund be considered for profit, and would it affect our nonprofit status?
It's not for profit.
Which part?
The AS Excellent Fund.
No. The definition of nonprofit means that any money that is made in this enterprise goes back into the mission of the organization. So, yeah, no, it goes back to the mission. It needs to be expended toward the mission of the association. So it doesn't challenge that at all.
Thank you. Leo.
Senator Rebay.
So my question actually touches a little bit on the AS Excellence as well. Are there like certain criterias in terms of like, let's say an AS organization asking to use some of the funds? Because there's a project that I am helping. Well, I'll be more advising role, but we do have a conference in mind, and we're going to try to find a large pool of funding to have QT POC, possible name change QT by POC here at UCSB, or UCSB will be hosting at some location. So like, is there a criteria specifically for the AS Excellence Fund? And like, I don't know if you know off the top of your head, but
yeah, I have background in terms right here.
Oh,
It's very like not restrictive really. The criteria that has to be met is that it has to enhance educational experience, has to foster greater awareness, and strive to have a meaningful and lasting impact. That's literally it. So it's very loose in terms of how it can be applied.
Thank you.
Sorry. Good. Ma'am? So the issue with the fund is that endowments, one cannot expend funds until you raise enough funds up to a certain level. And then what you expend are the interests off of those dollars. So in that particular fund, all that we've really been able to raise about $1,500, $1,600. So I'm not sure that the fund would be, you wouldn't be able to spend all of that. You'd be able to spend a percentage at most.
Follow up regarding that. So say if like we were to like request and we got allocated like $1,000, then we would be helping in terms of having like donors in place that $1,000 and some more. That's a clarification.
So I don't know that it's at the level where it's making enough money to spend any money.
Okay.
It's an endowment, which means that you have to endow it first up to a certain level, and then you're granted being able to spend money off that top.
Okay.
But we can use money that's in it right now to raise more money.
Yeah.
If like we're putting on an event or something to raise more money, we can use some of that to do that now.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
Merci, Rose.
2 things. One, I want to thank you. I don't know if it was your doing, but the Wi-Fi is now working, and you said so JP came in earlier to give his report on the state of the special election. Does the 3% voter threshold right now concern you at all?
Sorry, I was not
Actually,
here. I wasn't here for his report.
So he said that of the 3,792 students that are needed to pass 60%, only 836 people have voted. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a leading question.
It's just thoughts.
My thoughts are that that's low, and it definitely needs to be higher.
Any more questions? Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Facts today.
Hello. I don't know if I recorded long or not. I just typed it out and then see if they were all on. Well, I see. As you all have noticed, I switched to messaging in Slack exclusively. That's just to push you all to actually get your AS emails in your Slack accounts. I've noticed a lot of you have after I did that. I'm still available through email and text message, but please try to get your emails as quickly as possible. I'm going to try to invite a representative from UCPD to next week's Senate meeting, so you can all ask questions and give concerns about upcoming initiatives for Halloween. This is not often a problem, but please make sure that you speak up during meetings, because a lot of the people on the sides are not directing to the back, they're directing across from you. So, like, we don't want to be the first Senate to have microphones in the flying A room. Like, that's embarrassing. Okay. A good amount of you have been good this week about forwarding your legislation to Holly before it's put on the agenda. Please keep this habit up. Also, I noticed a good amount of you have been using the old Senate resolution, like, draft template, which is like really annoying because like when you like backspace, it like deletes everything. I sent the new one in the Slack that's like super wordy and user friendly. Please start using that. Please make sure you're being as respectful as possible when guests are coming to Senate during public forum to speak. This means not using your phones in an obvious manner, eating food, and leaving entering the table when they're talking. If you need to use your phone, all you need to do is step outside, because you have 30 minutes per Senate meeting until you will be unexcused. I took advantage of this a lot last year, and you should too. Senate forum, this is an early reminder, very early, that you are all required to hold a Senate forum collectively with all of you all. Like, a Senate forum is essentially a big office hours with all of you attending. Senate has a budget so that you all can buy food for that. I don't know who's going to coordinate that. Last year we had all of them at Sam's to Go. It was really fun. But we didn't know that we had a Senate budget, so we all had to buy our own sandwiches. So don't make that mistake. My office is going to be having its first meeting this Sunday. I still have a few positions open, so if you have any friends that are interested in internal affairs, you can encourage them to apply. I got a greater amount of fellowship applications over the past week, so it's looking great. Applications are due on the 19th, and we're going to have our first session starting next week. I'm going to start a Google Sheet about AS quarter zips. Last year we paid about $45 each for them, I think. $40? $40 for quarter zips? How much did we pay for quarter zips?
Oh,
$40. Last year they were navy blue. They're not going to be navy blue this year. We're going to have a vote for that. So yeah. I'm still waiting for the Houston Governance Board to meet quorum so that we can start going to their meetings and we can learn about their Wi-Fi issues and things like that. I still need a proxy for the Student Fee Advisory Committee tomorrow from 2 to 3 p.m. So if you're interested in being a part of a committee that talks about student fees outside of AS, please hit me up. And if you're free from 2 to 3 tomorrow. I don't really know what they do, but it sounds important. Over the past year, UCSB joined the system-wide insurance plan for undergraduate students. Because of this, we finally have an undergraduate representative to the system-wide oversight committee for that. Currently, this undergraduate seat is actually occupied by a graduate student. So if you want an undergraduate sitting on that, it would be great to fill that. And their first meeting is November 9th in San Francisco. And that is all. I'll be taking questions.
Actually, I have a question. Could you restate the part about food at meetings?
To be respectful during
Oh no, like
public.
actually having food at, like we can get food at meetings?
Yeah, it's just eating it during public forum is really annoying. Because like, if we.
She meant like the Senate forum.
Oh, okay. So, Senate has a. Let me check. Senate has a budget for things like the. I'm pulling up the budget right now. For things like Senate forms and buying things and for projects. That's like apart from Senate unallocated. Senate unallocated is supposed to be funded to groups and DCUs, but Senate has its own budget. That is $3,000, which you all can use for some things, like buying food at your Senate forum. They made the mistake that last year's Senate did not buy food and have to buy their own food.
Senator Hernandez?
You mentioned that we will vote on the color of quarter zip. Do you have any available colors that you have at the moment that you will be putting out for the vote?
What colors do you want the quarter zip? Last year they were navy, the year before they were gray. I'm just going to leave it there. I've heard black. I've also suggested orange, but that got vetoed really quickly.
Thank you. Olive.
Senator.
I heard olive.
Senator Hernandez.
So for this public forum, I know that the last year's senators kind of split it amongst the groups to do like their own. Can you elaborate a little on that process and what all that looked like?
We only split it out into groups because some of us couldn't make the times that were planned. So that's what happened. Also, they had a women in Senate forum that the women of Senate just did themselves. If the women want to go rogue again this year, they're more than welcome to.
You yield.
I yield.
Senator Tumian? You. Senator Proxy Rose.
So, as you so kindly pointed out, we might get out of here early. I was just wondering what you might do with all your extra time.
Well, last week we got out of here at 12:30, so I just went home, made dinner, and then woke up at like 11 and missed my workout time. So thanks, Senate, for letting me take me enough to work out. Tonight, I'm going to make sure I work out tomorrow morning, like I usually do on Thursdays. Emphasis on try.
Thank you.
Senator Cornejo?
So just a point of clarification, and I have a question. Our colors are blue and gold. Is there any possibility we could get gold?
Ooh, like a reflective
gold.
Metallic. like yellow, like.
No, you're right.
I don't think the company that we order from does that, but made for effort.
Senator Hernandez.
So you mentioned that there was a Senate budget. Can we use that Senate budget for these quarters?
Yes. So basically, we, as an association, part of finance and business regulations is that we can't utilize AS funds for personal use, and these quarter zips are considered as personal use.
They do have our names on them, so I think that is against the financial policies of DCUs.
Follow up. Can we use our one-time exception?
That could be voted on by the finance and business meeting. I mean, maybe.
Senate is like the main body that sets. Senate was the reason there became a one-time exception. I don't think it'd be good to model that after buying our own quarters out of our own budget.
Senator Ornelas. Senator Fernando.
So yeah, just to go off on that, part of the things that we do emphasize when giving workshops is handling responsibly the use of student fees. I'm pretty sure a lot of people would, some people won't mind, but some people would be upset with us using the $210 that they pay into the association quarterly for zips. So okay,
Senator Rubin.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. I think like talking about like this real quick. One thing that so I was in RHA my second year, and we had there was use of student fees to have retreat at Disneyland. A lot of us, some of the representatives were against it, and a lot of students who weren't RHA, when they found out, they were really against it as well. So this kind of, I think for me, it kind of reflects that. And that's just like, just to throw that out there. So like, because these are student fees, and that's like something I just want to mention, so that way we can be more, like all of us can be cautious of like going further into the future and letting our VCUs know as well. Like, hey, like let's be cautious of the use of student fees, because you know we pay a lot of money and they pay a lot of money too. So yeah, I yield.
Senator Tubian.
Do you have any details on the Senate retreat, like where it is, if we can come a part of it?
Senator Carlton Crew, do you want to talk about that?
If you have any more details about the Senate retreat, because
okay.
the date was moved, but like I'm not sure if we can come partway through or anything.
All I will say right now is that the date was moved to November 2nd to the 4th. I'm still working out logistics of location with LaDante, but if I do not get what I want right now, that is fine, because we will just have bigger and better plans for winter quarter.
All of us. Is there any way we could like know any sort of details? I mean, I know I've
We're not going anywhere.
That we can like figure out if I can like drive to LA in time or something. Okay.
It's gonna be here. That's the detail you need to know. Senator Corneo.
Going on to that question, would it be allowed for some of us to kind of go back and forth from work to the Senate retreat?
Depending on the times that we do specify in the agenda, and it is important, you know, that you do go to work. Just let me know your work schedule for like anyone. Let me know your work schedule so I can like, be as accommodating as I can. But there are going to be set times. But you can also be excused from set times if it is things like work and such that. But you have to make up the trainings that you can miss regardless. Any more questions? Yep.
Moving on to EVPLA, they already did theirs. EVPSA, there is none. Do you want to do PSA?
EVPLA,
she did the start. Oh, another announcement?
Yeah.
Good one.
It's really quick. Jessica wasn't sure if she mentioned the dog park that opened up in IB last weekend, or last meeting or tonight's meeting. Dog park. I think it's on like 66 Sueño. Correct me if I'm wrong. 6-7. And there's a like free training session this Saturday. If you want any more details, definitely contact her. It's probably up on the Facebook. But you can get your dog trained for free and spread the word, because that's really cool and cute. Thanks.
Thank you.
I can take your
questions.
Oh,
Nancy Rose.
They're also, the EVPLA office is also doing dog training. if you know anybody. Oh, sorry. I was focused on the 6667 thing with Milo over here. It's 66. So, yeah.
So, EVPSA, there is none. Student Advocate General.
So, just a glimpse of this past week on Friday or Thursday, like external meeting? Friday. So on Friday we had our first external office meeting. We met with the polling analyst that Jack had hired last year, which I rehired for this year to continue the work that Jack began, just because they had put a lot of effort into it when I went to their meeting, and I didn't want to put all those months to waste. And so what they're going to do is that they're going to work with Micah, which is my external deputy chief of staff, and they're going to see how they can best execute it so that we can finally get this pool up and running and get the information out there. My community outreach coordinators discussed community-specific projects, and so one of the things we're working on is that Dylan is going to work on a Know Your Rights workshop for student workers in light of the strikes, and then Abby, she's going to work on doing a presentation on basic needs, and so that's going to basically focus on educating students on the health insurance plan, and then resources for financial aid, and also resources for food security and houselessness. And so, in order to help increase the visibility of the office and our internal part, which is the casework, the main portion of it, we've been trying to be in as many spaces as possible. And so this past weekend, our Director of Public Relations, Alex Moon, attended the food security retreat on behalf of the office. I also attended the sexual assault and sexual violence policy town hall on Monday. Jenny forwarded the full version of the policy to our office, so if you're interested in reading that, you can go ahead and reach out to me or Mayella for that. And then the community outreach coordinators, Abby and Dylan, attended the labor town hall on Monday as well. And so today it was day 2 of having OSA at Pardal Center, and then our student code of conduct caseworker, Sonia, joined me. I had a really good conversation with Robin about how to make the space that we're having more pretty and professional. So the LRC is also providing screens to have the space be more confidential if students ever do come in to discuss cases. She also mentioned that this past week they've had people coming into the LRC asking for the OSA services, so that's a really good sign. I'm excited for how we can continue moving this project forward. So tomorrow we're going to have our first office-wide meeting, and so it's taken a while to get everybody on the same page when you have to have 15 different people to discuss these things. Discuss office hours and whatnot. So we're finally having our first meeting, but after the office meeting, I'm going to head to Irvine with the Food Security Task Force for the UC Global Food Initiative meeting, and so that's basically where all the basic needs steering committees are going to meet and see how we can help basically all the UCs increase their food security resources and houselessness resources, and then it's also a really good way to see how OSA can help increase visibility for them. And so Yeka might have touched upon this, but on Sunday, the EPLA office and OSA office, we're going to do a Know Your Rights workshop in the Fiesta Room from 7 to 9 p.m. And so the LRC and IAB Patrol, we're going to be doing a presentation on legal rights, and then our office is going to be doing a presentation on student rights and university processes. We're going to be providing pizza and ice cream, and a Facebook event is coming soon, so you all will get more details on that. And so other updates, and so Stephen also touched upon this, so the Title IX Student Advisory Board is looking for an undergrad representative, and so if you, or actually no, the student, what is it? The UC Student Board is looking for an undergrad representative, and so if you're interested, feel free to contact them, and you actually get paid for going to those meetings, so you get $250 per meeting, so they're really interested in having a student representative for that. And so last week they had mentioned that the Title IX Student Advisory Board is looking for an undergrad representative, and so if you're interested in applying, Ariana Alvarez, who's director of Title IX, mentioned that you all should reach out to her if you know anybody or if you're all interested in serving on that board. I think that is it. I will be accepting questions.
Any questions? Senator Rebate?
Do you happen to have, like, by any chance, the email for the UC SHIP, like, undergrad position? Like, you know, like who I should contact? Like,
if you reach out to me, I can better connect you.
Okay.
Proxy Rose.
So as of the Title IX and Town Hall 2, kind of towards the end, well, I actually have no idea what time they finished, but there was a lot of things that they were sharing policies I had never heard of, especially very interesting ones involving amnesty. I was wondering if, it's kind of a two-part question. One, if there was things that you had also not heard of, which is kind of concerning, and then two, if you had any plans to advertise those, because I think amnesty stops a lot of reporting, because when people are afraid they'll get themselves in trouble. So I was just wondering,
Yeah, so that was one of the things that I discussed with Ariana at our initial meeting, and so she had mentioned that there was coming updates to the policies that were going on. So because it is still a work in progress, and the final policy updates won't be finalized until October 29th, which is, I think, 2 weeks on Monday. So basically, since it is still a work in progress and nothing is finalized yet, it's still like we still have that meeting and actually discuss how we're going to promote the updates to it and how we're going to do that. But that's something that we definitely want to work with Title IX on doing, just because that's a lot of things that students aren't aware of, and it kind of, again, like as you mentioned, really discourages them from reporting, or they just aren't familiar with how to go about it.
Any more questions? Thank you. We are on Senate Representative reports. We're going to start with Senator Cornejo. You have 2 minutes. Please be mindful of time.
Hello, everyone. As you know, elections are going on, and they actually close tomorrow at 4 p.m. If the 60% isn't met, then it just goes. It continues until next week, or until next week. So I do urge that you tell your friends, tell random people walking through the arbor that special elections are going. And if you'd like to help with flyering, Election Board has a lot of flyers left over. So you can also reach out to me or Election Boards. Besides that, the beloved community is going on, handing out bags. IVT is looking for more volunteers to help distribute all these bags filled with information, which is very crucial, especially now that Halloween is just around the corner. Besides that,
Hi all. So things are going well. I know my BCU, I think public mental health commission is going to meet soon. And many of you heard me I was talking to the president earlier that so on campus we're going to have towards spring we're going to have the Queer and Trans World Color Conference. So I'm definitely going to be reaching out to ask for a lot of funding from different places. Please make people apply. Please make sure people apply, vote for the UPSA, because I was also going to ask them and help them to get into contact with UCSA, because this is a really large conference and it's an historical because we actually hosted the first UC-wide LGBTQ conference. So to have that back here, the possible rename change is something that myself and Core Commission is really looking forward to. But yeah, and yeah, in turn, I'll talk about it later. But yeah, I yield.
So IBCRC had a very, very successful Cardinal Carnival this past Saturday. They said it had less hiccups than the year before, which is a win. They had a ton of people out there tabling. It's really great to see them work so hard. A lot of them, or the two co-chairs, have seen now three carnivals. So they just had their last one, which was really cute. And Ruth brought her baby to the meeting, which was awesome. I reached out to Jessica, and she said that Global Gaucho Commission essentially does not exist. I believe, Gressy, did you start that BCU?
Yeah, Sammy Kyle is the person to reach.
So if you know that BCU at all and think that Jessica has the wrong information, please let me know. Would love to fulfill liaisonship duty on that one.
So for program board, the leader is coming up, the announcements. And Tuesday movie for next Tuesday. call out. In regards to IB Arts, they had their first meeting on yesterday, and they had this really super cool idea for like a cool like virtual project, and it's like super lit. They are a little bit confused because they said that like last year was the first year that like their senators were actually active, and so like they're really excited for Jolly and I to show up to their first meeting yesterday, and like they're really excited for us to help out, and like there's a lot of like new things that they're like learning about. There you go.
Senator Perez.
Point of personal privilege. Some of us can't really hear. Could we speak a little bit louder, please?
Senator Perez, I went to bike committee today, and they're adding like more bike parking to Ivy Theater. I yield.
Senator Bencoven, program board, Delirium is going to be awesome. I'm super excited. TSA, we have an event coming up soon. I'm excited for that, for tacos. And for external affairs, I sent out a group meeting to many of you that are in it. Christian sent out a polling sheet of when you guys are available. I think only 2 people responded. I'm going to send out another one. Please submit it so we can get this done, because this is week 3. It's annoying. I had my own faults too, but yeah, I yield.
Hi, Senator Funk. This week I checked out the Coastal Fund. That was pretty cool. They meet in Natty, and we funded this really cool event that's happening on Sunday. It's called SB Wild. It's this fundraiser for a national forest nearby, and they were kind enough to give us some free tickets, so I will be attending that. And I managed to get one of my paintings into the auction, so I'm pretty stoked on that. Anyways, I yield.
Yeah, life is going cool. Went to my BCUs, like Shlake said, IB Arts. They were happy to have us. Also, creative media unit is really cool, so I'm excited about that. Working on a lot of stuff. That's it.
Starting at the retreat this weekend. The teaching was cool. I've been able to get in contact with CFF. Somebody knows somebody on the board. I like emailed people. Nobody responded to me. Editor doesn't know either. So yeah, please let me know if you don't have any connects there, because I really want to get involved in the PCU. Hey, yo.
Lexi says hello, and wish she could be here. I yield.
My VCUs, I'm actually unable to go to some of their meetings, so I've arranged with their chairs that they'll come into my office hours, and I've arranged like alternative times to meet with the chairs, and I feel like that'll be productive to like get the insight from somebody who's in charge of it all. So I'm excited for that. I can't seem to get in contact with Take Back the Night, so if any of you guys have a like personal phone number for somebody who's the chair, somebody who's really involved, text that to me, because I'm big on calling, and I'll just leave them a message. So, I yield.
Senator Chauhan finally got a name for Pub Safety Committee, so that's good. Really excited about that one because that's like what I wanted to do, like in AS. So finally gonna get that done. I know they've always been doing stuff. And then for Global Gouch Commission, good that I know Sammy's the guy to talk to. We'll get that done. I yield.
As Senator Van Cohen mentioned, the Transcendent Alliance is having this on Thursday in 17 is Jameson Center. There's going to be Lily's Tacos. Tell your friends to come through, your transfer friends to come through. We'll be having mental health peer mentors tabling, as well as the Transfer Student Center itself will be tabling with Transfer Student Alliance. Will you be tabling?
I think so.
Okay. Senator Christina will be tabling? What was the? Urca will be tabling there as well. SAC has started their official meeting, and if some of you are former or still RAs, if you want to tell your friends that they can reach out to SAC for funding, that'd be great, so they know that resource is available to them.
I
questions if you would like to mentor a first generation. First year is up. If you'd like to mentor a high school student in the local area, the application is up for that. And then if you're interested in mentoring transfers, that's your transfer student line. And then I'm working with the recommend for my event, so I will
Everyone, Senator Ornelas. I met with EAB this week, and they're doing really cool things. They're going to organize a trip soon to Alpha, and they basically give people a $5 credit if they choose to buy thrifted or secondhand clothing, and that's just to promote sustainability and kind of combat the fast fashion industry. I wasn't able to go to the ILS Attendance Union because I was at EAB this week, but I talked to their advisor, and she mentioned that they were voting, or they were discussing which projects to work on this quarter, so I'll keep y'all updated with that. I kind of have been working with Human Rights Board a little bit for Yara, and I know Emily's going to help out too. But basically, they do a lot of great stuff. I know they're helping put on the event that Senator Solomon helped organize. And then SASA, which is a subcommittee under Human Rights Board, also released a list of asks. And so just to make a clarification there, President Capel mentioned that basically that SASA put on this survey, but they just published the survey. The survey itself was put together by a group of concerned students. So they just really want that clarification to be made. And yeah, so I'm working with them along with Senator Solomon to just help them out in whatever they need regarding the asks in Senate. And then I have to reach out to KCSB so I can meet with them, because I know they're kind of like somewhat autonomous in that sense, so I need to figure out what their meetings are. And then, yeah, that's it.
Senator Tumian, RHA had, I think, their first meeting last night. CAB is having it right now. I can't make it to either of those, so we are coordinating, and I'll probably have updates on this week's meeting next week for y'all. Lobby Corps is making moves on getting funding for their fellowship program, which is really cool because it's going to be open to like freshmen and transfers who probably would have had to wait until next year to take any sort of leadership position and get really involved. And they're going to get a lot of good mentoring, effective lobbying, and things like that. Yeah, I yield.
Senator Solari, I went to the AS Pubs meeting last week, and they're working on getting some prices for new equipment they need. So once they get back to me, I can start working with Zion to get the funding they need. And also, Greek Council still doesn't exist. Yeah.
Okay. Next, we have administrative reports. Committee reports, Standing Committee on Finance and Business.
We're at a pretty low number for follow LaSalle. It's like $2,000 something, $2,075, which is really scary because we started out with $62,000 for follow LaSalle, and it's week 3. But we're going to get $2,000 from over enrollment into follow LaSalle, so it should be fine. We just $20,000. But I think we are practicing financial fiscal responsibility because we have to put those in groups. But we're having a good discussion, and it's healthy.
Yield.
Yeah,
Point of clarification, what happened to the $60,000 in 2 weeks?
$62,000 was allocated from follow LaSalle in the first 2 weeks, and that might include the $250 startup fund, which I calculated. It's like about 80 groups that applied for that, and so that turned out to be like $20,000. So that's a big chunk as well.
Standing Committee on Internal Affairs, External Affairs.
Again, same thing. I'm going to send out a deal. I yield.
Standing Committee on Internal Affairs.
Yeah, hi. So Internal Affairs will be meeting next week on Thursday.
Thursday at 5:30 p.m. We have 2 minutes. So yeah, so I can discuss that later. But yeah, so if you want to come by Thursdays 5:30, I will let you all know about the location. But we're doing good.
Group project and other temporary career reports. Does anyone on the Food Insecurity Leadership Council want to report?
So, as of right now, we are working on the application, and then we'll be sending it out by the end of this week. We'll share it with the group chat so y'all can also share it with your friends. We're really trying to create, we have an application process just to see if people are willing to commit a meeting every month to update each other. Besides that, we really want to make sure that it's not pushing out also non-AS entities out of these spaces and keeping them within the conversation. Besides that, if you have any other questions, you can
Okay, so we have like tentative deadlines, just for y'all aware. Also, if you're interested, we put in the resolution that senators can be part of the council themselves and they can sit in on these councils and be on the board for it. So keep that in mind if you are interested in participating in that as well. So some deadlines that we have, we set Monday the 27th of October for applications to close. We might extend that due to like how time constraint. And then interviews will continue on. Interviews will go on from October 29th till November the 2nd. Those are tentative as well, they might be extended. And first meeting, we're trying to, do you know what, like a tentative time for our first meeting?
So that's actually,
yeah.
That's actually going to be up to a doodle that we'll be sending out to everyone that's selected to be on the committee. And besides that, I also want to note that we got the idea from a committee that is called the Queer Student Leadership Council, which is basically where queer leaders within UCSB come together to discuss issues that the queer community, queer and trans community faces here at UCSB. So we kind of formulated the Food Insecurity Leadership Council as that community.
I was just gonna say, if y'all have connections to like organizations that work on food security, please let them know about this so that way they can be a part of it and more inclusive.
You should reach out to Sabrina. Do not remember her name right now. She's part of SLG, Sigma Lambda Gamma, and I know she would like research or something. She came to present to Senate last year. Steven, do you remember her? She came to present to Senate about, like, she did surveys on food insecurity and she surveyed a bunch of people. Yeah, I don't remember her, but and she would go around to like all the orgs and ask them to be part of her survey as well as like what she can do for food insecurity. So I feel like she'd be a good person to be in contact.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, Rose, what was the disease that you said didn't exist?
It's not that it doesn't exist, it's that it's a special commission. She said she didn't have a contact for me, and I took that to understand, let me get her exact words, I took that to understand that there was no current chair or membership.
Okay.
I believe there is no current chair or membership, but they do have a budget. So
They do have a what?
They do have a budget.
They're coming along.
So there is money floating around.
Totally. And it's not just, is it just for international students? So if y'all know anybody that is into that.
I think I heard Sammy Kaling. So
Yeah.
that's like someone who's like done stuff with it. So like he's a good person that I think we're gonna get in touch with and just see what comes up from
He's
that.
in charge of forming the new commission.
Okay,
Both
so that's a
mental
good place to
health
start.
and
So we'll start with that.
Okay. There's just no appointed chair.
Gotcha.
Yes. Moving on, we have Senate minutes. Senate 1010, the floor is now open. Senator Nellis.
Motion to accept Senate 1010.
There's a motion to approve Senate 1010 minutes. Is there a second? Second by Senator Front for non-discussion. Senator Rive.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is an objection? Call the question.
Consent.
Consent. Seeing none, motion passes. Administrative committees, there are none. Boards and commissions, we have elections boards 1009, 1011, 1016, score 1010, code 1012, EAB 1015, women's commission 1008, QCOM 1015. Floor is now open. Senator Briseño.
Motion to bundle and approve all boards and commission
There's
minutes.
a motion to bundle and approve all boards and commissions minutes. Is there a second? Second by Senator Tubian. Round of discussion. Senator Corneo.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is there objection? Call the question.
Consent.
Objection, consent. Seeing none, motion passes. Unit minutes by committee 1010, CIRC 1011, 1014, IBCRC 1015, IBTU 1008, 1016, CAP 1015, Coastal Fund 1016, TSA 1016. Floor is now open. Senator Fung.
Motion to bundle and approve minutes.
There's a motion to bundle and approve unit minutes. Is there a second? Second by Senator Rebate. Now in discussion. Senator Chouan.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is there an objection? Call the question.
Consent.
Consent. Seeing none, motion passes. Standing committee minutes. We have financial minutes 1015, internal affairs 1009. Senator Rebate.
Motion to send internal affairs minutes back to internal affairs committee.
There's a motion to send internal affairs minutes back to internal affairs. Is there a second? Second by Senator Hernandez. We're in discussion. Senator Tubian.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is there an objection? Call the question.
Consent.
Is there an objection? Consent. Seeing none, motion passes. We are still Senator Tubian.
Motion to approve finance and business meeting.
There's a motion to approve finance and business 1015. Is there a second? Second by Senator Briseño. We're in discussion. Senator Chouan. Question has been called. Is there an objection? Call the question.
Consent.
Is there an objection? Consent. Seeing none, motion passes. Appointments here. Justin Nielsen as Chair of Judicial Council. Senator Fung.
Motion to table Justin Nielsen as Chair of Judicial Council for until the President has reviewed the 4 other applications, or has the final list of 4 applications. I believe that's what she just came to discuss.
There is a motion to table Nielsen as Chair of Judicial Council until all judicial and council appointments. Applications are reviewed. Is there a second? Second by Senator Cornell. So discussion. Senator Tubian.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is there an objection? Call the question.
Consent.
Is there an objection? Consent. Seeing none, motion passes. We have Juan Ornelas as Dream Scholars Coordinator for ASOP. Senator Briseño.
Motion to accept Honorable Assistant Coordinator for the office.
There's a motion to appoint Juan Ornelas as Dream Scholars Coordinator for ASOP. Is there a second? Second by Senator Hernandez. We're on discussion. Senator Chouan.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Is there an objection? Call the question.
Consent.
Objection. Consent. Seeing none, motion passes. We have Cynthia Pinto Cabrera as undergraduate youth and board seat representative. Is Board talented. Senator Chouan.
Motion to approve Cynthia Pinto Cabrera as undergraduate youth and board student representative.
There's a motion to appoint Cynthia Pinto Cabrera as undergraduate youth and board student representative. Is there a second? Second by Senator Rebate. We're not in discussion. Senator Fung.
Call to question.
Has been called. Is there an objection? Call the question.
Consent.
Consent. Seeing none, motion passes. Discussion items, there are none. Remarks. We're starting on that side. I think.
I yield. Week 3 is going the way it's going. Good luck in week 4. I yield.
I mentioned that week 1 was a 4.0 week, week 2 was a 3.6 week, week 3 was like a 3.2, and that really needs to change. I don't know what was going on, but I'm making changes now that'll hopefully help me be a more sustainable student. I love BCUs, they're so much fun. I went out with my EAB peeps, and they're a lot of fun. You also get to know them personally. Yeah, if you all need anything, come to me, let me know. Support y'all.
I finally did my reading after 3 weeks of procrastinating, and it was really fun, and I remember why I'm here, and classes are fun. I yield.
It's Josh's birthday today and Adam's birthday in 2 hours. I yield.
Yeah, my birthday's in 2 hours, 21st. Kind of sad I don't get to spend it with you all at midnight, but also kind of glad that we get to go out early, so I yield.
Happy almost birthday, Adam. I yield.
I was wondering if maybe for Senator check-ins next time, we could all go around and share pronouns. I think that'd be a good thing. Yeah, I'm stressed. Feels like a gate. It's week 3, it's okay. Also, if y'all are involved in research, y'all could apply to the ERCA grant. Also, UCDC applications for spring quarter of Athena going closed Friday. For summer, they're doing November 29th. If you have any questions, feel free to ask about that.
Okay, so past time came up this week and the course offerings are out. And like, since like I'm a bio major, all of my classes for the first 2 years were like set for me, but now like I don't know what to do because like I've just signed up for what the major or like department told me to sign up for. So I just got so lost, and I just scheduled an academic advising appointment for when my pastime starts. I'm in 3rd year. It's okay. I'm fine. I yield.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Yo, what up? So there's this really cool event that's happening on Saturday, I believe, the 20th. It's called the Isla Vista Open Market. And so some of my good friends and myself are associated with the Isla Vista Trading Post. If you guys don't know what that is, it's basically this organization that goes out and collects clothing donations and then you can just take 3 articles of clothes for free. So if you want to get free clothes on Sunday, check out the IV Open Market. It's Saturday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Little Acorn Park. And I yield.
School's about to kick my butt. I yield.
At this point, the bread has gotten me. So, I yield.
I didn't know the pastimes were out. I only saw the classes were out, and I freaked out because I don't know if no pastimes are now. Oh my god. Okay.
My goal was just glitched.
I may or may not be done in June, depending on how much I will cry in the academic advising office at the Hill Department. I yield.
I felt that.
Oh, this
Just one. Today, we've put them ahead in the series. They're up 3-2. They'll be playing to win the National League Championship Friday night at 5:30. Friday night at 5:30, which conveniently overlaps with when I'll be cooking dinner for Shabbat at Santa Barbara Hillel. So I'll be cooking it for 100 people, and we'll also be live streaming the Dodger game as they clinch the National League. So if you want to watch baseball, and I'll give you a hint of what we're cooking, there's going to be some tofu lettuce wraps for those vegetarians. So come on and check in with a special recipe. You'll have to come there to see it. So that's what my Friday night's going to look like. It's going to be great.
I yield.
I yield.
I yield too.
If I can just get in contact with Leah, because I got RHA funding for some events. With that, I yield.
It was nice to join you. I yield.
Senator Cornejo. Yeah, Monday I had a midterm and I didn't start studying until Sunday. And I think I did really good on the midterm. So that's a highlight.
Adjournment. Proxy votes.
I move to adjourn.
There's a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Senator Ingram, not discussion. Senator Crescencio. Question has been called. Is there objection to the question? Consent.